Yo, Duro Ricio Bully Camp. What's that word? Yeah, live, Yellow, Mac, and we got a special guest, Rain, with unscripted podcast. I know a lot of people wasn't gonna think that Rain to be on the platform, but I wanted to address the elephant in the room because me and Rain talk all the time. I don't know why people think me and Rain got issues, but
I don't like I said, man. I think
man,
maybe
we don't have issues. There'll never be no
now
issues.
we just got a difference of opinion on certain
Um,
things, and that's just a debate. That's just a debate at the end of the day. Like we already said, at the end of the day, we still gonna eat at the same table. So yeah, but like we
right.
said, man, some people, man, they want it to be an issue. Like, bro, just because we having it ain't like we trying to debate some things that niggas want to debate with me. Like, bro, you can't even debate that. We having a topic that, okay, that I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. Okay, it is what it is. All right, but all right, bro.
Right.
So you still coming over to play cards later? Like, that's it. That's it. That's it.
Right. Facts. Facts. And that's how it is, man. 'Cause it's like people was thinking like, oh man, you know what I'm saying? I guess the debate about the AM staff, the American Pit Bull Terrier, but people don't understand that that's barbershop talk, man. That's not like, yo, man, we gonna have a fallout. We gonna have problems over the AM staff and the American Pit Bull Terrier. That doesn't make sense.
We dealing with a whole new level of people these days, man.
Yeah.
And then what I seeing, and maybe y'all have seen this as well. You see some of the older guys, they starting to act like the new guys.
Talk about.
So yeah, I've been
But
seeing
bro,
a
like
lot of that.
so bro, in the DMs, he was telling me how you had Amstaff. So tell me about some of the dogs that you had coming up.
Mm, man, I don't even know. I don't even know where to start. um, so I'll say this: my introduction to the Amstaff obviously came with the pit bull first, before I even ever knew what an Amstaff was.
Mhm.
Because obviously, you growing up as a kid, especially a black kid anywhere, you got parents in the 80s and 90s. There were certain dogs that was just iconic, and a pit bull was one of the most iconic. And I remember my uncle had one, and he didn't even really want nobody to be around it because it had such a bad rap. And in my head, I'm like, well, why you got it in here then? Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? If it's that crazy, and he got rid of the dog in like 3 days. So that made me, and it was a puppy. The dog didn't do nothing, bro. But my uncle's a moron anyway. So, like, that made me want to look more into the dog. You know what I mean? And from there, I learned about SBTs, bull terriers, Amstaffs. And so my brother, who is like hardcore American pit bull terrier, like, you know what I mean? Like, nothing else, like nothing else. He don't want to talk about nothing else. Like, but he don't do no podcast, but he can sit and tell you everything you want to know about that dog, like, up front. Like, but so he prompted that, and I would be like, okay, well, what about the Amstaff? What about the Amstaff? I want to get an Amstaff. And he'd be like, well, like, technically it's the same dog, but then this happened, and then this. And I remember back in the day, we used to call like Dan Norwood and talk to them, and Boots the Blacksmith Kennel, and talk to these guys in dog fancy, when they used to have a dog fancy in Dog World, and they would say the same things, like a ruffian dog, and it's this and it's that. And then I'm like, man, I don't know, man. I want to get one of each,
Right.
and I want to see. And honestly, to be honest, I'm more attracted to the Amstaff, like, visually.
Hmm.
I like a blocky dog, a
Me
short
too.
blocky dog. That's why I like the Pressa
Right.
over a Connie Corso, if that makes sense. And I've had them too, so I know, like, that dog's not for me. Um, and I will say, like, I ain't had a ton of American Staffordshire Terriers, but the ones that I had, to be honest, not all of them, but I would say maybe 70% of them, I couldn't distinguish much between the personalities between them and American Pit Bull Terrier, in my opinion, at that time. And
Okay,
we're
I see.
talking 99, like, well, let's say 96 to like 2007. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But things were different, and area environments are different, and who you get your dog, and it's not even a lot of places to even get am staffs from. And here's the thing, I'll be up front. I don't even know if they were really am staffs. One of them, I know one dog I was, because it had papers that said that it come from am staff line. You know what I mean? So if those dogs were really of the am staff AKC line, I honestly, they said they were.
Right.
But they were built like, they weren't built like American Pit Bull Terriers. And
Got
I didn't know nothing about an American Bully. I had never even, I'm not even sure that that dog, anyone outside, because I wasn't even in the DMV at this time. And I didn't know nothing about an American Bully. And then I remember, because even in the Stratton book, when they showed an American Bully, they still called it an American Pit Bull Terrier.
Right.
And so then when I found out about the American Bully, I'm like, well, ain't that the same? If you put a Amstaff, a show dog into a game dog, ain't that the same dog? And they're like, well, genetically, yeah. And then I'm like, okay, well, I understand like why this happened. And then it's like kind of the same thing with the Presser, but those dogs were fire. Like, they were hot. The few
Yeah.
Amstaffs I had, they weren't no punks, because I wouldn't have kept them. You know what I mean? Like, so I guess the misconception of people saying that Amstaffs are like not about that, maybe some of them, but
Right.
I know even Gaff said that she got dogs that, they still, they're gonna, how you can't really get away from that. But I
Mhm.
have heard people say like, oh, they're not this or they're not that. But then people try to say the same shit like Dogo Canario versus Pressa Canario. But that was a whole different situation.
Yeah.
And like, I've already, I've touched on that shit so much. Like, but yeah, I physically, I like the build of the Amstaff. I'm not saying I don't like American Pit Bull Terriers. I love APBTs, but to be honest, my favorite dog is a Staffordshire Bull Terrier. So if that makes sense, because that's like, in a way, it's almost like a combination of the two in a sense, but
Right.
it's a smaller version. It's the oldest version of the pit dog. So I
Right.
liked it though, because it's smaller, it's compact. I like them. I like the SBTs.
Did you Oh, I didn't mean to cut you out, Duro. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
The Amstab that you did have paperwork on, do you remember what blood it was?
Oh man. Whew. Let me think. I want to say, if I remember correctly, man, that was a minute ago. I'm trying to think if
Was
I
it?
could.
Did you see? Do you remember? Do you remember seeing something like Sierra?
Yeah, I definitely will see some Sierra. Because
Okay.
Sierra, I'm trying to think. I want to say the other name that's coming to mind. I don't even think that's an Amstaff bloodline, but it just keeps popping in my head, and I'm like almost sure that it's not. But the kennel came out of Maryland. It was a kennel in Maryland. It was an older white lady. My aunt, we drove there to get like the first one I ever had. Because in Maryland, if you at that time in the DMV, they had a ban because the mayor, and it still stands to this day, got bit by a pit bull when he was a kid. So anything American Bulldog, Bull Terrier, anything like that in Montgomery County, in PG County was a no-no. And my uncle worked for the county, and me and my aunt were dead set on getting this Amstaff. Man, I really wish I could remember because we got it. It was a whole ordeal. We had to end up getting rid of the dog because they were like, he's like, you're gonna make me lose my job. I wish I could
Did
remember.
you? Do you recognize? Do you recognize Ben Mar? Ben Mar as a bloodline?
I don't, honestly. I don't.
Okay.
Honestly. I'm
Okay.
not, like, one thing
But
about me, I ain't gonna even try to fake. You know what I mean? Because I'm telling you,
okay. Yeah, I got you. I got you.
this was literally 1994. 95 or 96.
Oh, okay, all right,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, like I
It's
said, this
been a
was a
minute.
long, and I literally only had the dog for 2 weeks, bro. Because, like I said,
What happened?
that was the one my uncle, we couldn't have it because they still considered an Amstaff. We thought we was gonna get around
Okay.
the rule, and he was like, "No, bro, you're gonna get me fired. I work for the county. It's no way in hell that I can have this dog here, knowing, you know what I mean, like that." So I ended up getting another Corso because we had
So was Gav?
Okay.
Is Gav still is Pam Carter? She still breeding her Gav dog?
I don't know if she's
Last
still.
time I heard, she was messing with the bullies.
Yeah, so I was gonna say I don't know if she's still breeding because the last thing I heard from her, she did that interview for Eric Lawton. But
Right.
I don't, I don't follow certain things. Like I know certain breeds better than others, and then something like that. Like I said, I just happened to catch that interview, so I know more just about general history than who might have been doing what at that time with your average dog. Like if you ask me certain shit about presses or pit bulls, like I could probably answer certain questions for you. But yeah, I've had conversations with her like in the late 90s, but that interview is like my real in-depth with her because everything else I bought came out of a trading post. And it was labeled Amstaff, American Staffordshire Terrier. So
Okay.
and there was no, we didn't have no DNA test back then. So, well, that not for that not the way we use them now. I think the only DNA test that vets were doing were like for dual sired litters and stuff like that. To my knowledge, I don't remember anybody ever getting any DNA test past that.
All right. All right. So, you from DC, right?
Yeah.
So in DC, and what kind of dogs that you see did you see in your hood? Because I know in my hood, it was a lot of American Pit Bull Terriers. What was it? A lot of pits up there?
A lot of pit bulls. Yeah, my one neighbor, he has 6 of them by himself alone. They
Yeah.
gave one of my Corsos Parvo.
Oh,
It's crazy. That's when I learned about different strands of Parvo and moving dogs around at a young age because I wasn't hip to that. I'm thinking, I'm inoculating my dogs myself. I'm good. I go to college, take my dogs to play with his dog. My dog's been around everybody else's dog, but I'm in a whole new state. Dogs get to playing with his dog. 4 days later, my dog's in the hospital. But so back then, coming up, the most dogs that I saw were pit bulls, Rotties, a lot of Dobermans. Not I won't say ironically, because that wouldn't. There were a lot of French bulldogs, like real ones. Obviously, not the ones that we see today, but there was a lot of French bulldogs in the DMV in certain parts. The King Charles Cavalier Spaniel, extremely
yeah.
popular dog in the DMV because the breed club is there. So I know a lot of people that had King Charles, a lot of bull terriers. I knew a lot of people that had bull terriers. My neighbors and my homeboys growing up had Great Pyrenees. So and there was a couple puppy mills in the area as well. So Neapolitans, and plus, remember the Arba Classic always had a show there. So there was always a lot of exotic breeds in that area. So I saw a little bit of everything. A little bit of everything. Mutts from all the way to, a Dalmatian, any Great Danes, anything you could really think of.
Right. 'Cause I know. Me and my homeboy, we was talking like not too long ago. We was talking about like dogs we seen in the hood. Like we ain't really see Rottweilers in the hood till probably like maybe '96. Like you know what I'm
See, my
saying? Like
uncle
probably
had
like
them.
after New Jack City.
My uncle had them. He had them. He had the same one that had that pit bull. Like that's the dog that he
Word.
really. Yeah, that was he had. So and this was they had been messing with Rottweilers since like the late '80s. Like ever since I known them, they had Rotties.
Mm,
And then, like I said, he got a little pit bull like in
okay.
between. I think one of their Rottweilers had died or something like that, and they got a little pit bull. Like I said, they only had it for a few days, and then he got rid of it, and then there was another Rottweiler there. They always had 2 male Rottweilers in the yard. Because my brother used to be like, "Why they got them 2 males, bro? Why they always got 2 males? Are they gay? What's wrong with them, dude?" What? So They always had Rottweilers, and they started with the American, and then as we got older, and me and my cousin started, I was really propelling that motion in for the people that were around me, the whole animal thing, and so they started looking into more like, okay, what's a German Rottweiler? Because a lot of them guys, they didn't know no difference between a German Rottweiler or a German Doberman. A lot of them hadn't even heard of that stuff. They didn't know nothing about that. It was just a Rottweiler, and this is what it is, and that's, and we got one, or here's a Chow Chow, and that's why I said, like, them dogs that I had, they may have been Amstaff, they may not have been. I had the dude sold me a dog. I listen, I did a lot of young dumb stuff, bro. I had a Niggerino dog, Kate's Niggerino, midnight something on the trap. I forget what it was, but crazy pedigree on this pit bull.
Midnight Cowboy,
and it was he was a 2-time champion weight puller. His name was Hoss. Dog was 75 pounds, brindle dog. He even looked like Niggerino, even had the same ears as Niggerino. And I loved that dog. And my brother had a Leitner dog. He had a little, like, 35-pound red-nosed Leitner dog off of, I think she was more closely related to going like Goofy than Barney. But we were going to breed them dogs together. And my brother ended up getting locked up, and the dog got lost in the game circuit and died. And I never saw the dog. It's crazy because I went to go get the dog, man. I could have saved that dog's life. And I went to go get that dog, and somebody was leaving in the driveway with it. Like, as me and my cousin were pulling up, bro, I was heartbroken because I knew my brother wanted that dog to come with me. And so in the midst of that, like, I had found some Corvino dogs, right? And I was obsessed with the Corvino bloodlines. So anything that was like Corvino related, I wanted it or try to get it. And I had Hoss, and Hoss had papers. Like I said, he was ABDA, real nice dog. That's really about all I could say about him on here. But I ended up trading that dog, Hoss, for what I was told was 2 Niggerino dogs. Two Corvino dogs. He said he got them straight from Chicago. Mind you, I'm 16, 17 at the time, right? So those dogs were probably in no fucking related to Corvino dogs at all. And the more I think about it and thought about it years down the road, dude gave me a lilac dog. I didn't even know what lilac was. I only knew what lilac was a couple years ago. But I know that now, seeing what a lilac dog looks like, is that I was sold a lilac American Pit Bull Terrier. That dog had pink eyes and a pinkish hue to its fur. And then the other dog was a buckskin dog. So, like I said, I gave him a good dog for some. He probably, I sold that lilac dog to someone, and I kept the other dog. She was a nice dog, but she just wasn't what I was looking for. And I've touched a lot of animals, the dogs too, in general. But me, like, if it's not what I need, man, you're gonna have to find somewhere else to live. That's just how it goes with me, man. I'm really about that. Like, you got to be productive. I can't like, because I hear these stories about people getting dogs and then somebody breaking their house and the dog don't do nothing, but the person that sold you the dog gave you this fantastical story about how this dog was going to grow wings and turn into a Digimon and kill anybody that comes near you. And then it didn't do nothing.
Right.
When, you know what I mean?
Right.
For whatever reason it may be. Like, I have a homegirl who lives out in AZ, and she's got a Malinois that she rescued. I don't even think it was a bad situation. I just think, it just needed a new home. And that dog was trained on the sleeve. And she told me flat out, she said, man, if the sleeve isn't present, he won't do anything. Like, as far as like protecting me or anything like that. It's like anybody can walk up on me. She said, but when the sleeve is out, it's go time. So she's asking me, like, how can I push him over the edge? I'm like, well, you're going to have to probably find a stranger and you and him and maybe your boyfriend go out to a park that's kind of secluded where there's not a lot of people and have a strange motherfucker run up on you and see what happens. I said, because if anybody can walk up to you normally and the dog doesn't do anything, he doesn't try to stand in front of you, no growl, no bark. And I'm not saying that a dog should necessarily do that, but what she was describing me was a dog that is like friendly to everybody and not necessarily like, let me check dude out. Let me check this chick out first before I even let her pet me. Because like my presses, man, when I had dogs, they don't always want to be pet. You know what I mean? They didn't like that. Some days are better than other people. Can I pet your dog? I'd be like, thank you for asking. Most of the time I just say no. If it was a hot chick, I'd be like, it's up to him. You know what I mean? But other than that, like, let's go. We're not out here for that, especially where I live, because it's bare and shit out here. So, I ain't got time for no distractions. But I hear them stories a lot, bro. Like, man, my dog didn't do this, or I bought this dog from so and so, and it was $6,000, and I put $40,000 into training, and that's the reason the dog will go. And you told me not to buy a dog from them. That's a true story. So I tell I ain't gonna. What you say?
I said I think I know what you're talking about. I think we was talking about that in the DM one day.
Yeah, so it's a lot of that, man. Like, no, go ahead.
Yeah. I think you had told me. I think you had told me something about somebody. Though we ain't gonna say no names or nothing, but I think you had told me, and you was like, man, that dog ain't do nothing, man. You know what I'm saying? You would expect it to, just because of the what you call it,
the story
the
that
hype
came with
around
it.
the dog.
Yeah, for sure. Well, here's the thing. This is what I tell people. Listen to whatever they telling you. I mean, if that's what moves you, if you need a good background story, listen to them. But at the same time, you should be like paying attention to their environment, because the environmentals is the most important thing next to the diet of the animal. Those are the two most important things in programming: is your diet and your environment. That's 80% of your programming right there. I don't give a fuck what animal you got. If you got a shitty diet and a shitty environment, you got nothing. So, like, if they're saying one thing, but the environment is really showing something else, that's your cue to get away. Like, if you say you want to, like, you got let's say I hit you up and I'm like, hey man, I want an AM staff, and I know a little bit, but I don't know a lot, but I also understand that, these are your dogs and the AM staff has a general representation, but what about the dogs that you breed? Because they do represent AM staff, but you have a different environment. Everybody's environment is the same. And now if you tell me, and this is hypothetical, I don't know how much Rico sells dogs for. So he like maybe $3,000. Okay, that's cool. But here's my thing with that. That's fine, but make me feel $3,000 of comfort to give you that money. I don't need to hear, oh man, he tore the bumper off of a semi truck and that he got 4 sets of genitals and my dog he's crazy. I'm like, bro, listen, bro, I don't care about none of that. I just want to know if you're a good person, because if you are, then you're probably gonna have good dogs. So if you say $3,000, then let's just have a conversation. Because if you're really about what you say, then I'm gonna be like, this is a nice guy right here. You know what, bro? Where do I send this money? Like, but don't trick me, or not me, but anybody. Don't trick your client. Like, all of these guys are tricking you into buying from them.
Yeah. What we call them, bro? What we call them?
Yeah, they're magicians. Yeah, they tricking you. They tricking you into buying stuff from them, bro. Like, you got a guy, he's trying to sell you a purebred mutt, and then you got guys trying to sell you a dog that is so vicious it never does. It's so vicious it never does anything. You know what I mean? That's crazy to me. I want that.
Did you say purebred mutt?
Yeah.
Huh? Explain it.
Purebred mutt. So you got some guys out here that are trying to use this this breed back. What should I call it? So this breed back style of programming to corrupt DNA. And they're saying that there's no such thing as purity while they're talking about line breeding purebred dogs with a name. So they're basically saying that it's okay to insert other dogs into, like, and I ain't talking about of the same breed, I'm talking about of different breeds, into their dogs, and then sell it to you as, you know, whatever it says on the papers. So yeah. Because, you know, breeding a breed back, we see breed backs in, you know, the new Frenchies, those are breed backs. Some of the new Dachshunds, those are any of those dogs that are coming in colors that we know they're not supposed to come in. We're not talking about new breeds. We're talking about Dachshunds and French bulldogs and stuff like that you ain't never seen no dapple, invisible, hairless, spiked Chihuahua before in your life. But we got them now. So that's those are the results of breed backs. But breeding, so the term and the purpose of a breed back came when a breeder had a specific breed of dog, right? Whatever, let's just say Rottweilers. And then after so many generations, he started to see where his dogs were going to decline, and maybe in a specific manner. Maybe it was physically, mentally, or whatever. So this breeder, after so many decades of breeding only Rottweilers, decided to take a dog with similar genetics, maybe a Doberman, a Boucheron. I'm not a Boucheron. I can't even think of all. I smoked, so I can't even think of it. But yeah, well, really any dog, but let's just say a dog that fits, and then put it in there to basically kind of offset that negativity a little bit, but also understanding that that breed comes with its own problems, but also understanding that by like 6 or 7 generations that what you did will be gone. And most likely you might be dealing with the same problem again after 7 or 8 generations of a fix. So then you have to you got to bring that dog back and do it again. That was a breed back program. Okay. That's what I know to be breeding back. Or you take a dog, you take 2 regular Frenchies, or you take a Frenchie, you breed it to a Merle, let's just say a Merle American bully, a pocket bully. You take all the Merle ones, and then you breed them back to Frenchies, and then you tell everybody they're Frenchies. That's another breed back. And that's what these guys are trying to do, and say that these dogs are pure. But then if you catch them, say, oh, well, it's not pure, and it's okay to do that because it's a breed back, but it's still a burrable. What? Bro, it's so confusing and so illogical that I can't even explain it, because you can't sit up here and tell me about there's no such thing as purity, but then telling me you got a program. So is your program scatterbred? So that means if you're not line breeding and if you're not inbreeding, then you could only be scatter breeding, right? Is there another type of breeding that I don't know about?
Nah.
Okay, so if you're line breeding, and then if you're we know inbreeding, you can only do so much inbreeding anyway. And inbreeding is to lock genes, and which should be followed by an immediate outcross for the prove and the test. So if you tell me you're running a program, then I have to assume that you are outcrossing to line breed to inbreed to outcross to line breed. So if you're not doing that, then you're just scatter breeding. So then that means you don't have no consistency in your program, and then that's hardly a program. So I don't understand, like, and you got this guy want to debate me over this topic. So I don't know, but you know,
you gonna debate him?
I'm not. Well, I can't.
I think they like to see different variances, right?
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. If you want to do that to your breed or whatever, then I guess fine. But why are you lying about it until you get caught? Just say that's what you're doing. Because there have been pressa breeders that have openly said that they went and got some Bordino Majoero and put it, because I was going to do it. Because I think the dog right now in its current state in 90% of the cases is watered down. It's not like the dogs that I knew. So I think that a Bordino, this is what I'm talking about. That has purpose. Not these niggas trying to get different colors and bigger heads and make the dog bigger. They're not trying to correct anything except for the money they're missing in their bank account. That's what they're trying to correct. That's it. Nothing more. Because you can't sit up here and say you keep buying. If there's no such thing as purity, how the fuck did you buy the dog? How did you ask for it? What did you ask for then?
Yeah, that make a lot of sense right there.
How you buy a purebred dog with no name, no breed name? You don't even know. And then there's no standard. They say there's no standards. No, I'm not against banned dogs. I never said that. I'm against motherfuckers lying. That's what I'm against. Pressa was a banned dog. Most dogs come from cross-pollination of other breeds. There's I don't think there's any breed other than like dingoes and wild dogs and things like that exist in their own capacity. I'm not against banned dogs. Like I said, my favorite dog, even a Staffordshire Bull Terrier, that was cross-pollination, Terrier Bulldog. No, I'm against you doing that and then saying you're not doing that. That's what I'm against. If you were a real breeder, then you will have a real reason on why you did it and explain yourself in a whole documentation. It makes more sense if I know that you've been breeding Rottweilers for 20 years and you added a Doberman to the program and then you showed me why, rather than the nigga that's been doing this shit for 5 minutes. And then you want to debate me, and I was born in this. Oh, he thinks he's a biologist. No, nigga, I am a biologist because I went to college for that. I'm like, what are you, though? You want to challenge me to try to make yourself look bigger, but I'm not. But when you have to figure out that you are this big and the debate can only happen if I say so, that you're not really in control of nothing. So I wouldn't want to buy a dog from a person like that, because that tells me that your environment is weak. So anything you send over here is going to end up in a hole in my backyard, because I'm going to test it for real. You ask anybody ever sent me a dog, I'll grade it for you flat out. Like, bro, you sent me some shit. Yeah. Bro, you sent me that shit.
So, bro, when you was breeding, I know you're in the reptiles. We're going to get into that, you know what I'm saying, and later on. But when you were breeding, what was you breeding?
Pressa, American Pit Bull Terrier. I had one litter of Corso. That was a crazy thing, because you talk about faults and genetics in a dog. Man, everything, that whole litter was faulted. Whole litter. That was, so it's actually, I'm glad you asked that, because it made me think about that. Like, that whole litter came out pied from 2 solid Connie Corsos.
Wow.
From a chestnut brindle and a black male. I lied to you not. I wish I had pictures. The female was mine and the male was for someone else's. All the dogs were brindle pieds. Every single one of them were brindle pieds.
I got a question.
Now, well, is it known for throwing that pattern?
Well, we're talking about 97, 98, 99, when that dog was literally an American, when it was a band dog. American Pit Bull Terrier, Neapolitan Pit Bull Cross. I mean, that back then, the dog still had Rottweiler markings. You were seeing blue and tans, black and tans. The dog was coming in white, cream color, different sets of brindles. And now a lot of that stuff you're not even seeing anymore. The dog, man, I had Corsos that were like super leggy, and then I had some that were like not had much legs at all. But I had some that were more heavy on the Neo, and some were more heavy on the Corso, and then some, I mean, not on the Corso, some that were more heavy on the Rottweiler side. But I never saw a dog that was like pit bullish, if that makes sense. When I would hear about that, and when I first found out that, because I got that dog because I couldn't find a Pressa at the time. But yeah, that the first and only Corso litter I had, every puppy came out was faulted. And I had another dog from Tony Scandifio. I didn't buy it directly from him, but it did come off of his yard. And I ran into Tony at the 2001 Arba Classic in DC, and he didn't even really have time to talk to me. And I told him that I had that dog and where I got it from. And he was like, bro, that dude's not even supposed to be breeding those dogs. He said, give me a call in a couple days and we'll talk. And yeah, that dog, yeah, crazy, because I ended up having 3 dogs out of that same litter because niggas wanted to jump on the bandwagon. This is a story I told on Eric's interview I did with Eric for the Pressa.
Yeah, I heard it.
And I was saying how I didn't even want nobody to know that I had the Corso. I didn't even want nobody to know that I had the dog. And then as soon as niggas found out that I had it, all of a sudden we had this mythical conversation that we never had, that I was like, yeah, let's switch from the pit bulls, from breeding pit bulls to Corsos. Now I probably had about 6 pit bull litters in my time. 2 unpapered, and then the rest were papered. Like I said, my brother was like gun ho. So anything like pit bull, he wanted to be. If I was talking about I'm going to go look at a pit bull, he wanted to be there. You know what I mean? Like some dogs I thought that I should have gotten and I didn't get because I listened to him. Like, no, don't get that dog. Don't get that one. I'm like, man, no, man. You sure? He's like, yeah, don't get that one.
So basically, I have a question. Band dogs can basically graduate to be full-blooded dogs once breeders get together and collab and dine in on specific genetics.
For sure.
Then it becomes a Pacific dog, basically a bully.
For sure.
Okay.
If under the proper circumstances. Now, the way I see a lot of people breeding now, I think at least 50% of programs right now of most breeds are scatterbred under the new breeders, because everybody that I talk to that I fall in that category, they are literally only talking about how the dog looks. So they're breeding this dog because it looks like that. Like that's more of something you do with reptiles in a way than with dogs, because we all know that you can get a dog that look good as shit and don't do nothing, ain't about nothing, can't reproduce itself. So if you're breeding a dog based off of looks alone, I mean, where are you really gonna get? So if under a proper breeding program, you could take 4 dogs of 4 different breeds, and one of them is your base dog, and do your math right and write it out and plan it. And I when I did my dissertation, I said that the soonest you could be able to do it using 3 dogs would be about 10 years. According to the chart that I did, I might be able to do it in 7 now that I actually got out of school and I know a little bit more about genetics. But 10 years is what I said on my dissertation. And that's with 3 dogs. But keep in mind, the more dogs you have, the longer it's going to take. But if you got 15 people over here working on the same program, a group of people over here, you working here, and everybody is on board, you see a lot of, like with the Pressa, if you read the history of the Pressa, like those guys couldn't agree on nothing. And you know what I mean? Like you read, it's talked about in any of the older videos. I talk about it. Curto talks about it. Juan Carlos talked about it. They all talk about it, like, you know, like, because the 2 islands had a different idea of what a Pressa should be. And then one wanted a fighting dog and one wanted this working dog. So there they had, and then within the islands, they had beef. The only thing they agreed on was you got the Bardino has to be the base dog. But this dude might have only bred Bardinos to Neapolitans. And this dude used bull terriers, American pit bull terriers. This dude, he want Amstaff because he like the thicker bodies. So he got Amstaff, Neo, bull terrier to his Bardino. This guy over here got Doberman, German Shepherd, you know, so that's what they were doing. But what they realized is that the DNA of the Bardino Majoero is very primitive. So no matter what you breed it to, you're gonna get a certain look and a certain style. And then look, this what a lot of people don't know. Then they use the Pressa to reconstruct the Cade bow. So they used another reconstructed dog to reconstruct a dog from the whole Iberian area right there, because they were obsessed with these fighting dogs.
And now they
Right.
in the States doing that same argument.
Yeah, I mean, here, bro, listen, you got to think about this, bro. 30 years, I left dogs for a decade and a half and came back, and niggas is still arguing about the same thing that's already been written in fact. So it ain't about the dogs, bro. It's not about the dogs. It's about the keeper, the handler, the ego. The reptile community see the same thing. They don't. I just did a podcast. I told them, you don't know no herpetologists. You don't know any herpetologists, but you know all the hobbyists. So it's like, how many animal geneticists do y'all know besides me? And I just started telling people that last year, because people used to try to clown me and say, "Oh, don't listen to him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He ain't got no degrees, da 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 da." And I'm like, "Do you got degrees?" And they're like, "No." And I'm like, "Okay, well, actually, I do have a degree. So yeah, actually, I have a few. I got a whole lot of certifications too. So, you know, like,
And you said you what again? What did you say?
I minored in animal biology and genetics, but I went to
Okay.
school. I went to school for architecture, and I ended up being a chef, and never went to culinary school in my life.
Okay.
Shout out to Jack. I hear that. I hear that. So Rain, let me ask you that. So you had all of those dogs that you were breeding. Now, in a time span, I mean, you don't have to go year by year, but how how much did you deal with one breed? Like, was you just breeding like Amstaffs, pits, Presses, or was you doing that at a time? Like, you had this dog for a certain amount of years, then you went to this dog type of thing.
So the Pressa and the Pit Bull are the two breeds that I have the longest time with.
Okay.
I've been dealing with those dogs for about the same amount of time, since about 92. And those are, if I sat and went down all the list of dogs that I've sampled, those dogs will always be, they're going to stand out the most of the most two breeds that I've had, because like I had like 6 Corsos in the span of 2 years. They were all trash, in my opinion. So the Pressa, so every time let's say like this, I would get it, it was hard for me to get good Pressas, but that was the only dog I ever really wanted at that time, because I knew I could get good get good pit bulls, and it wasn't that hard. But it was
Right.
hard to get good Pressa Canarios. And so anytime I got a bad dog, it would make me focus back on the Pressa. And I would try hard to get one, and then I would never be able to find a good one. So my years in total with the Pressa, like consistent, we'll say like 20 years. Pit Bull's about, it's about the same. It's about the same time with that dog. But then in between there, you gotta understand, like, I moved around. And here's another thing. A lot of these dogs didn't belong to me. A lot of dogs got dropped off with me, or I would be working on kennels or working in, animal related situations, and they would have dogs, or I would be assisting in breeding, or I would be like, man, so-and-so, we should probably try to breed that dog. And then I would run or write the program. So a lot of the stuff that I did wasn't all just for me. It was a lot of other people that I was going out with all over the world. We're not just talking about in the States. Like some of this stuff I can't even say, you know what I mean? Like on here, even though it may be okay over there, but it ain't okay over here, type of situation. But the Pit Bull and the American Pit Bull Terrier and the Perro de Presa Canario are the dogs that I have the most time with. After that, probably would be probably fucking Cocker Spaniel, honestly, or a Beagle.
I wasn't expecting that one.
Yeah, I had a lot of Beagles and I had a lot of Cocker Spaniels.
Yeah,
And
my
see, and then
homeboy, he
They good
breed beagle.
Y'all like beagles, and it's
Yeah,
crazy
they
because
oh,
most of the people that I know that had pit bulls had beagles.
Yep.
yep.
They breed them to like some of them run on certain numbers, like a 6
Yeah, yep.
or
They got it's a whole
5.
great. Yep.
Yeah, how you wanted to run. Yeah, he breed beagles and pits.
Yeah, bro. Listen, I have had so many dogs that I have sold dogs to people and then gone to a whole nother state and run into that dog again. And somebody else, I don't even say nothing. I just tell the girl I'm with, like, bro, that used to be my dog. She's like, how you know? I'm like, dog, because the vet fucked the ears up. And then I'll start saying little subtle stuff to get them to talk about the dog. I'm like, oh yeah, I just actually shipped that dog
Yeah.
down here from so and so. I'm like, yeah, I told you that was my dog. Like, yeah, I've touched that many animals. Like, people are like, man, you've had a lot of dogs. Please, that number pales in comparison to reptiles that I've had. I've had more reptiles in a week than dogs exist.
Right, right. So, what made you stop breeding dogs?
Humans? Yeah, I just don't think there's too many people that are just worthy of what I'm doing. Like, this is my life, bro. Like Duro, I know you work in the vet. You know what I mean? Some people, this is only part-time. They go to work and they come home and this is what they do. And that's cool. But I've never not done this. I see guys in the reptile community, even guys in the canine community, like they're dumping their whole projects or their breeding programs. Like, I could never do that. Like, even if I stopped breeding, I just wouldn't, like, maybe on the dog end, because listen, I say this all the time, bro. I'm not a dog person the way people think that I am. At one point I was, but it's not as rewarding and as fulfilling for me. Canines are. To somebody that's a canine person, then that's great. They're gonna love it. But for me, it's not that fulfilling. You got to put a lot into it. You don't get holidays. You gotta have somebody you trust at your house, and all this stuff. And I'm picking up shit and dealing with litters, and then then you gotta add for precedent. Like, the last litter I just had, that was my last litter ever. Like, I got a litter for Pressas, and people are like, how much for the Connie Corso? How much for the King Corso? Bro, I'm not about to sell you nothing but hooked on phonics. Like, bro, like, that's crazy. You can't read?
Yeah, it's a lot.
So, yeah, man, like, so that, dealing with that, and then seeing, like, just how things are going, and with social media, like, everybody is kind of, like, just wanting to do this just to be seen. Like, bro, I just want to deal and talk to people that really love animals. Like, I don't have to be in love with dogs no more to go kick it with a group of dog men. I don't even have to like fish to go kick it with people who really love fish, because the whole thing is, by the time I leave there, I'm probably gonna want a fish tank. You know what I mean? So, or I'm probably gonna be like, man, listen, let me get one of them. Let me get one of them AMs. When you about to have another litter, man? Well, slide me one of them dogs, man. I really, I really enjoyed that dog, man. If you can provide that experience for me again, and see, that's the only thing that would make me want to get another dog. Is like, I'd have to go somewhere, like, and really see it now. Like, back in the 90s, like, bro, man, I used to just get so excited when I knew I was about to go buy a dog and see me. I guess me, everybody always said, like, bro, you're ahead of your time. You're ahead of your time. If you're smart for your own good, you need to slow down, because I don't like puppies and I don't like small snakes. Like, bring me that 2-year-old dog here that you said is a problem. I'm gonna get him together. Within a week, I guarantee you, we're gonna be walking down the leash like I had him since he was a puppy. Like, I don't like small snakes. People are like, man, you're crazy, bro. You bought a 8-foot forest cobra right off the bat. Yeah, it's easier for me to handle. I hate dealing with monocle cobras. They're so small, like 3 feet. Like, I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's just easier for me to deal with 6 feet and up. Like, it's like, I don't know, because I don't like using snake hooks. Like, I got a snake hook right here, but that shit ain't gonna help me with him. if that motherfucker decide to bite me, bro, it's curtains. There's no hook on the planet that's gonna save me. But
How
I
long
put
does it take for them to get that big?
It's really up to how you feed them, but you know, you can ruin them just like with a dog. You know, you want to, we call it power feeding. You power feed them, you're gonna get this snake with a little ass head and a big ass body, and it's gonna die on you a year later. But this is a wild caught snake from Africa. This nigga's a G for real. He's not that captive bred stuff that you see. Like, this nigga's been around elephants and giraffes, and you know, he done seen something. You know what I mean? So that the first year, this snake wanted to kill me every time I walked in here. He wouldn't even eat in front of me. Now I got videos on my YouTube where I'm basically hand feeding him, and people are like, bro, that thing is more gentle than my non-venomous snakes when I'm feeding them. I'm like, bro, they're super intelligent. He knows who I am. You know, I spent a lot of time in here. And so I build a relationship with him. You know, with the dog, that's easy, but it's also easy to ruin. That's what I tell people. It's easy to bond with a dog, but it's also easy to ruin that bond with a dog. It's not easy to you're never gonna bond with this snake, bro. It's just not gonna happen. No matter, you know, there is a tolerance though. There definitely is a tolerance. And reptiles have, through the generations, selective breeding and becoming breed, some of them themselves have obviously now become dependent on us in their own way, shape, and form. So, you know, like that's where we are now. But, you know, like but like I said, I was saying, like, I remember, and I'm sure y'all do too, as a kid, when you knew you was about to go get a toy, nigga go crazy. Toys R Us. So you're about to go get a dog, a puppy,
You sleep at night.
anything like that. Oh yeah, man, you on the way there, bro. Then you get there, like, and you step foot, and you were walking into that yard, and the dude or the girl, they come out, and you hear the dogs barking. Bro, my heart, oh man, I can't wait to pick this dog out, man. You know what I mean? Like, I can't wait. You get back there, the puppies running, you see the dogs, big dogs bark. Like, oh man, I used to love it. And then I started breeding, you know, and then I would see people coming, and I wanted to make sure that I could provide them with the same feeling that I had. And that's important to me, because that's a part of the standards in the environment. But now when I go deal with people, I don't be getting that warm feeling inside. You know, when I go there, like, I don't get that type of emotion from anymore. Not from most people, you know. So I don't know. That's just how I feel about it.
It stopped being home, or, you know, now it's all about breeders.
Yeah, that's it. The breeder is the most important thing right now. And I'm not, obviously, we know we have to be there, but at the same time, you could let dogs just like run, and they'll breed and, you know, do all that stuff on their own. Now, it won't be strategic, but, you know, it definitely can happen without you. But we understand, like, yeah, but it's like I said, if your environment, your diet, the dogs, then you. That's the most important thing. Like, if you don't even know how to pick a dog, how you gonna breed a dog to provide a dog to do something for somebody? Bro, I be seeing niggas all the time, like, yo, like, they don't even, like, second litter in, and it ain't even the same dog they breed in, talking about what they dog gonna do for your program, but they don't even have a program. How your dog gonna do something for my program when you don't even have a program? Like, I can't even count this as an F2, because that's a different dog you used. So that's still an F1 to a different bitch. You got a different dog. You got the same dog to a different bitch, and you bred the first time. So, like, you trying to prove consistency, but then the other dog don't even belong to you. So you can't even come back around for the line breeding, because you only got one puppy from the litter because you did a stud or some shit like that. Like, I don't know, bro. I even thought, like, a lot of stuff never made sense to me. Like, I feel like you got a dog and I got a dog. Half the litter is yours, half the litter is mine. That's how I do shit. Anybody don't like that, don't breed with me. Because there ain't no way in hell you about to get 9 out of 10 puppies. You can, or something, like the song said.
No, I'm giving up two puppies.
You know what I mean? But if
I don't do no half, no little range. I don't split no little.
If that's what y'all agree on, but I'm telling you, if you coming to breed with me, You got half, I got half. We splitting it. That's
Well,
how
I
I
see.
do
I
it.
hear you. I hear you. I hear you.
But hey, but if you got somebody that's willing to, but here's the thing: some people do a stud because they don't want all them other dogs, and that's understandable. That's
Yeah.
totally
Yeah. Yeah.
understandable.
Yeah.
That's totally.
Yeah.
If that's the case, like, hey, look, bro, yeah, I just want a pup back. Cool. All right, cool. But I understand for dude like, look, bro, you got a dog, I got a dog. How many puppies was it? 4? All right, well, you take 2, I take 2. That's how we're gonna do it. Like, that's how I am. But yeah, no, I don't want that because you sell the puppies for me. Because I've done that before too, where I split a litter, but he's like, I don't want none of the dogs. And I'll even give you a little bit of extra money since you selling the dog for me. So, but everybody's different. If that's what works, that's what works. I just say, you come over here, we splitting 50-50. Like, that's what we doing, bro. Like, so, but I think just in general, man, I think people are just starting to lose sight and lose touch
I agree.
with what's going on. People are in their own reality and they're trying to avoid actuality because those are two very different terms and things. Because you could really think I fuck with you, but I actually don't like you.
Yeah.
Story of my life.
You know what I mean? Like, so, and that's why I tell people, like, words matter, but you got to be careful. Like, bro, it's like, listen, but I got people that want me to come on their show because they think I'm gonna trash people or that what I might have said was personal. And I say that anybody that's ever seen my show, I don't never talk about nobody personal. I have never done that. I've never done that. So if you think that because I said something about somebody, like, oh, we're gonna bring them on the show, and then what's gonna happen is I'm gonna talk shit to you on your own show live. That's what's gonna happen. Because you didn't understand who you brought on here. No, bro, I said something to that man about what he was doing with animals.
Right.
That's all I care about.
Right.
If you're doing great, I shout you out. I bring you on the show. If you're doing shitty, I don't want to let people know, bro. Don't spend your money with him. I don't care how you see it. Oh, you fucking up my money. Oh, you fucking up people's animals. You're gonna get somebody killed selling them that trash, bro. And this is my job. And I'm gonna be doing it till even when I'm dead. It's still with the shit that I've done and doing, it's still gonna be going on. I already made sure of that.
I respect it, bro.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not here to I would debate and argue with you on real topics and shit like that. But if you want to come at me saying something stupid to try to make yourself look even stupider than you already look, I ain't gonna help you do that.
Yeah.
Not 3 times. I already did it twice.
Damn.
Shout out to my boo. Shout out to my boo, though. I gotta shout out my boos and my hoes and my trolls and my hater. Because they be in here, bro. They be in here. They be in here. They'll be hit the Cash App. I got you. McDonald's, you need fries. Your nails done, hit me up. On my hoes. Bro, you gotta take care of your hoes, man. You just can't have them out here strolling for you. Every once in a while, you gotta make them think that it's okay.
There you go, man. There you go.
I'm just saying, bro. I mean, I like the ad lib sound effect. This is the first podcast I've been on and I've been on a lot.
We silly over here, man. So
I can dig it. I like to get silly. Yeah, I likes to get silly. So, but yeah, I mean, what is y'all been seeing like this rash of like negative animal news, all the dog attacks, the random exotic animals popping up all over the place and shit. Like, bro, that shit's crazy.
Nah, I hadn't heard it. I hadn't heard none of this.
Bro, it's been a lot. It's been a lot of dog attacks on dogs, on people. Like, it's been a lot of, man, they just found they just found an alligator, like a 6-foot alligator in the DMV. Like, yeah.
You think they really caught all the monkeys?
Hell no. Ain't no way. Florida got so many animals down there. Like, yeah, they want you to come down there and get most of them.
I did see somebody been running up on some tigers that somebody had locked up.
Well, Texas, well, you know, Texas, man, they got zebra reports down there, all kind of stuff. Because Texas is like a drier Florida, basically. Because it's a port state, like New York. Remember, New York back in the day used to have an exotic animal problem. Remember, the nigga
Right.
was keeping the tigers. What was
In
it,
the
in
apartment,
Brooklyn,
yeah.
in his apartment, because it's a
Yeah.
port state. California, people getting attacked by monkeys and keeping hyenas. It's a port state. You see, when you importing and exporting with exotic animals, you learn what states are this. So you could track stuff. You could track movement. That's how I'm able to do all this stuff. Like people ask me, like, where the best weed come from, and I would tell them, like, if it ain't coming from 4 states, I ain't fucking with it. But so I don't care where you stay at. If it ain't in one of them 4 places, I've been doing this a long time. I ain't gonna steer you wrong. Trust me. They get mad when I leave. Like, bro, when are you coming back? So, but yeah, no, it's if you really about your craft, and you're gonna be able to track the weather. Like I say, you're gonna be able to track it. You're gonna know what's coming. How you could see somebody getting ready to just mess up, like the dude that got bit by the venomous snake in South Carolina. I never heard a dude in my life. Never seen him before ever. I'm on YouTube one day, scrolling on the shorts. He pop up. I see dude holding a taipan. No, was it a taipan? No, he wasn't even holding a taipan. It was I think it might have been a forest cobra. I don't even remember. But he's holding it and he's like showing it. And people freehand. And don't get me wrong, like I have a picture of me freehanding a cobra, but that's not something that I do on a regular basis. But he's freehanding, telling people like, oh, it's safe and cool to do this. And then in my head, I'm like, bro, this dude's gonna get bit. 2 weeks later, he got bit by a taipan. I don't know if you know about a taipan, man, but whew, bro, that venom is white. That venom is not mixed. That man, listen. Taipan venom is, yeah, it's a snake from Australia. Yeah, it's one. I mean, a drop of taipan venom. If you could expand it 1,000 times, could put 1,000 men down. This guy here. What's up?
So if you know how animals get in the zoo, their behavior change, they're no longer the same animal. Are reptiles the same way?
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, that's like I said with this guy. When he first got here, he was straight from Africa. Wasn't nobody hand feeding him. He didn't have to wait for me to bring chicks in or go catch him a snake to bring in here for him. Or he loves snakes too. He goes crazy over snakes. But yeah, no, he used to getting that stuff himself. And to be an 8-foot snake in the wild in Africa, like that's gangster.
Yeah.
To make it that long. And then you end up with me, another gangster. So I told him, you're doing right. Don't worry about it. I know it may not be Africa, but I'll treat you right. You know what I mean? Like you ended up in the right house.
So the guy with the taipan, he got bit. Finished telling that.
He got bit, went to the hospital. Oh, well, hold on. Before he got bit, he was posting anti-venom is for pussies. And then he got bit. And then when he got bit, he was on the YouTube crying and Facebook like begging for anti-venom. And then nobody wanted to give him anti-venom, but eventually he got it and they saved him. But he's still back doing the same dumb stuff.
Yeah, I bet.
You know, I don't keep the capacity of venomous snakes like I used to. I actually only have 2 venomous snakes in here right now. Actually, I have a viper and I have a cobra. I had another cobra in here, but she got eaten by the other cobra. So at some point, I'll grab another one. Yeah, cobras are snake eaters. So I mean, they'll eat just about anything, but they specialize in reptiles, amphibians. That forest cobras love frogs.
Okay.
But I got my cat in here. It's not a cat, but that's what I call it because it's basically like a cat that's like never going to listen to you. And then I got my viper back there. I got my monkey frogs. You can't see, they're behind you. Snail eaters. I got a new snake that came in today. I just bought another snake, like literally right when you sent me the link and I was coming on here. So I got to finish paying for that when I get off of here. And then I got more stuff coming in from Indonesia next month.
So tell me how you got into reptiles and stuff like that. How you lead dogs and then go to reptiles.
I never really left. 85, I started working the farm, the family farm, and that's where the dogs and the chickens and all that stuff was, the horses. And then in 88, I had to go live with my aunt. But I didn't have a very stable lifestyle. So from like 81 to 88, like I was all over the place. Georgia, Brazil, Mexico, Ohio, like different family members, this, that, and the other. And then finally, ended up in DC, getting ready to turn 7, started working in a pet store at 7 years old because my aunt set up youth programs in the city for the inner city kids to keep them out of trouble. And so me and my cousin, who weren't legally allowed to work, would basically go and volunteer at the places we wanted to, and we would get paid through the program. And so there was a pet store around the corner from the youth program headquarters. So they took me down there, asked them if I could work in there. They said, yep. And that was pretty much all she wrote. Now, don't get me wrong, like my mom and my grandmother, like they were fueling. They knew I loved animals. So they would bring me home stuff when I was with them. Like I said, because I was kind of all over the place. So I never really knew who I was going to be with. But when I would see my grandmother, like she would and she had Old English sheepdogs too. Like that was her thing. But she would, butterflies, caterpillars, praying mantis, whatever she could catch. She would, she put in a jar, put some holes in it, and then when I would come see her, she'd have it waiting for me. So it had always been nurtured, working horses at a young age, and bringing in hay and shit like that. But yeah, reptile started in 88, and I just became obsessed after that. And that was pretty much all she wrote. By the time I was 13, I was teaching adults between the ages of 24 and 40 at the Botanical Gardens in DC. Like I said, by the time I was 13. And so from there, I just went on to be a camp counselor, interning, at the zoos, any animal related projects I could get into, catching snakes, anything like that, hiding snakes in my closet because I wasn't allowed to have stuff most of the time. Or when I was, it was like a crazy ultimatum. Summer camp, I was a counselor. So there's pictures of me in the yearbook. Actually, one I just told the story a couple podcasts ago. I got bit. I got a dry bite by a copperhead. I jumped out of the canoe to catch a snake. I didn't know what kind of snake it was. I didn't even give a shit. But I left my kids in the canoe. We were at summer camp. We were in the canoe. I jumped out like almost waist deep water and grabbed this snake that I just saw the bands break water. I didn't know if it was a Nerodira or an Echistrodon, and it didn't matter. I hopped out, grabbed it, picked it up. It turned out to be an Echistrodon, which is a copperhead. And as it was turning to bite me in the stomach, I had it like this. One of the parents there was taking pictures for the yearbook and literally snapped the picture of that snake turning to bite me in the side, and that shit went in the yearbook.
Wow. That's crazy.
Nice.
Yeah, bro, I done been kidnapped over this animal shit, bro. I really can't even go into crazy detail about that, but
Hold on. What do you mean kidnapped, man?
It gets serious, man. Yeah.
Look, bro, this is what I tell everybody. Any podcast of mine, people ask me, I'm like, bro, the more exotic the animal, the more exotic the danger. Bro, if you go read The Lizard King or any of those books about the reptile trade. You know how many people have been died and murdered and displaced, and women have had horrible things happen to them and kids so that you can get some of these exotic animals and things like that that's in your collection. Yeah, that's real. That's real. And when you go overseas and you see stuff like that firsthand, the persecutions like in Indonesia, how the people of they call it Indonesia now, but Melanesia, they call it over there, where those black people over there have been persecuted and colonized since the 18th century. And then when they got their freedom from the Dutch in the 1920s, the Indonesians basically tricked them into a fake election and took control over West Papua. And so forced all those people back into the jungles, the ones that they didn't kill or lock up, for animals, for clove, for palm oil. Right? You know how much this tree monitor costs on a retail? You can go look it up right now. This lizard can retail for anywhere from $1,300 to $5,000 or $6,000, depending on species. Do you know how much this? You know how much this shit costs in the wild? $10.
Wow.
Those people are being exploited over there because this is the main resource of palm oil and exotic animals in Indonesia. So yeah, yeah, bro. Like I had a whole little reptile crew in the 90s in the DMV. There was a pet store within walking distance from my school. And the school that I went to for 7th, 8th, basically, yeah, 7th, 8th, and then 9th grade, I went to a boarding school, which was still out in the woods, and there were snakes and shit out there too. And I got crazy snake stories from there too. But I ended up getting suspended, then expelled from that school, and I had to go back to the other school. So yeah, this school was in the woods, bro. They had, we had an equestrian. This is a private school, bro. It cost $35,000 a year to go there. The kids drive better cars than the teachers. Like I used to get to go off campus for lunch, or I would call and order chicken basket. You know what I mean? Like I'm not eating. No, we didn't have school lunch. You either brought it or you bought it. That's what it was.
Like Clueless.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm 16, right? And then Heather Spirit's Lexus GS 300, the one with the high back. She's 16 years old with a brand new Lexus, and she's dropping me off at the pet store.
That was one of the best ones.
Yeah, that was my favorite one.
Yes,
why? Hey, you know why I like that car? Because it reminded me of the Presa Canario. It had the high back. It had the high. No, nigga, that's how into this shit I am. It had the high back. That's why I like that Lexus. I used to want to ride in her car every day. Heather, drop me off at the metro station. Drop me off at the bus. Drop me off at the bus terminal. You want a chicken basket? Let me ride with you. Drop me off at the pet store. I got to go trade these anacondas in. Yeah, that's how I ran away from home with reptile money. What's up?
You really had anacondas?
Anaconda? Nigga, I got cobras. Anaconda, that's like nothing to me. He said that like...
Yo, I don't know much about
I don't think they are always big, right?
No, anaconda, you have 3 species of anacondas. They only recently identified a 3rd species, but you have a yellow anaconda, which is smaller, like 10, 12 feet. Then you have the green anacondas, which are massive. But yeah, no, bro, I can get an anaconda for $100, bro. That ain't shit to me.
Oh.
Yeah, that's nothing. That's like a corn snake to me. Not to say that I don't love anacondas, but just to put it in perspective for you, like, no, that's right. No, maybe, yeah, like in 94, 95, anacondas were like, bro, I got anacondas. And they were like, nigga, what? You got an anaconda? Yeah. Yay. In the boat. In the boat. Put the thing on the thing.
Facts.
But yeah, I've had them before, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm mess if it and I say that an anaconda couldn't kill me. One, I don't have the space for a snake that big, but me, the more dangerous, the more better for me. The more, if it can't kill me, I don't really want it in here. Like, that's kind of my thing. Like, I like the most dangerous shit. Like, everyone's like, oh, bro, you're going to get a king cobra. And I'm like, nah, I've had them for clients, but I'm not into king cobras. And the reason why I'm not into king cobras is because king cobras aren't true cobras. I have the largest true cobra on earth. That is a forest cobra, African forest cobra, the black forest cobra. I have this nausea Guinea. God damn, my brain is Guineensis. Goodness gracious, nausea Guineensis, the black forest cobra. But it's been divided up into 5 species now. But Yeah, like that's my thing. I love nausea. I like true cobras. I don't like king cobras. To me, in my opinion, king cobras are too easy because they're so smart and they really. I should not say that a snake cannot bond because if there is a snake that is gonna do it, it's definitely gonna be a cobra. And if it is gonna have to, if I have to pick one, it's definitely gonna be a king cobra.
Right.
Because some of them are just puppy dog tame because they've owned, you know what I mean? Because of the environment that they've been in. They've never been harmed by a person. Because if you hurt them, man, it's like a dog, they'll never forget it. You know,
Oh, that's why
they'll
the Indians play with them, huh?
well, that's all like for, you know, they actually worship cobras and cows, depending on what part of India they live in. But yeah, that's all just because they don't kill them. Like that's all just for like show and like ritual things like that. Because you know, like the snake comes out and it's small because snakes, cobras are visual, so they're all about movement. That's why I like them. I like them over vipers, but not all vipers. Because people are like, "Oh, vipers have pits." Not all vipers. True vipers don't have pits. Like I have my African viper here is not a pit viper, so there's no heat pits. So because of that, this animal was totally relying on its intelligence and its eyesight, whereas a pit viper or a boa or a python, they've got those heat pits that can also detect heat to help them out.
Okay. That makes sense. Makes sense.
But yeah, man,
Y'all,
yeah, the more dangerous, the more I want it.
y'all got any more questions for Rain?
Nah, I'm good, man. I've been listening.
That was a good cookout.
And the
No, he
brother
fell
cook.
asleep. He fell asleep. That's what that mean, man.
You said you fell asleep.
Wait,
Who me?
yeah. Anytime you talk about,
No,
yeah,
no,
let him cook. Go, bro. Let
no,
him
no,
cook.
no. Not tonight. Not tonight. I
You said
didn't.
no.
Nah, not tonight.
You know it's all love, bro.
Oh yeah, I know. I know you fucking with me.
Yeah, for sure. Mac, you
How
got
many
any
people
questions,
in the show?
man? What? That's here?
Yeah, how many people watching? No, I know. How many people in the comments? I can't see.
Oh, we had a whole lot, but a lot of people left.
Uh, I'm about to go look on my phone and see how many people was in there. Yeah, you know, sometimes people come and watch, and then when you start saying stuff they don't like, oh
They
man,
leave.
I ain't gonna be able to tell this one what to do. That's why a lot of restaurants in DC, they know I'm the shit when it come to cooking, but they won't
Yeah,
hire me because they can't control me. They know they can't tell me what to do. I'm like, but why are you trying to control me, bro? If you coming in here, I thought we was here to cook food, bro. Give me the fucking recipe. Show me how you need to plate this shit and let's roll. What is all this control shit? But they know I'm not necessarily there for a paycheck. Like,
right.
that's not how I make my money. So if you start talking crazy to me, bro, I'm just gonna roll a blunt. I'm gonna roll my knives up and I'm gonna bounce.
Yep. You're a man before that paper. That's what you're saying.
So
I'm.
yeah, it's and you know,
I'm
like I tell, like I'll go and work. I'll go work in the kitchen, the right kitchen. I'll go stage in the kitchen free for 30 days. I've done it before because
mm,
I'm gonna learn a whole lot. I get to eat for free. You know what I mean? And normally they offer me a job if I want it or not. By the time the 30 days, like, bro, you want to work here? Like, nah, I'm good. I just wanted to learn how to make that dish, and then you had like 9 people here that smoked weed. So yeah, I'm cool. I don't need to. I think I got what I came for.
right. Right.
So,
Sure.
so yeah, I got a question. I got a question for Rain.
Go ahead, bro.
Um, Speaking. Okay, let's talk. Do you think that you can maintain desired traits if you're breeding a family of dogs and you're only line breeding and you're not inbreeding a family of dogs now?
I mean, it's still open ended. So if there's no lock, if there's no closure at some point, here is what I've seen happen with open-ended programs, right? Because you start off like a line, you start off with your outcross, let's say you're taking one male and one dog and the two bitches, right? And then you keep two, you keep a one and one, a male and a female from each one of those litters. And then you cross pollinate for your line breeding, right? So if you're not going to lock, then ideally, if you said you have another family of dogs, ideally, that's would be the time, I guess, would be to insert a dog from one of those other lines there. Now, it is a continuation of that line, but then you also have tainted it because you brought another dog, even if it's the same breed. I'm guessing that's what we're talking about. Same breed, different bloodlines. So your characteristics probably are not going to necessarily fall off physically in that sense. If anything, see, here's what the physical traits don't go first. The mental traits go first. How you think people get away with selling trash? See, I'm going to tell you how the genetics really work. Because why you think the game, the rule, the older breeders, the magicians, bro, they want you to get that dog as young as possible. Most older breeders, unless we're talking about F1s and F2s and, you know, things that have already been done and you dealing with specific people, they're probably going to be looking for 4 or 5 month old dogs and up, unless I said like it's an F1 or F2 and you already know what the possibilities are. So if you don't close it, what's going to happen is you're going to see what you want. You know what I mean? You're definitely going to see it. But what's going to happen is eventually you're going to stop seeing it, and then you're going to try to backtrack to try to pick it up. And you're not going to be able to pick it up because you never locked it in anywhere. So what happened was, it's like I said, like you bred for all the right reasons. You did all the right things. And then it's like this. How about put it to you in perspective like this?
Okay, go ahead.
I'm a chef at a restaurant. It's Saturday night, right? Saturday night, I got 500 on the books, man. We in LA, bro. It's popping right now. You hear me? Like it's popping. So tickets are coming in, orders are going out, da 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 da. And all of a sudden, we get hit with a party of 50. Right? We get hit with a party out of nowhere. There ain't no reservation or nothing. They just walk in like boom. And the host, she not a good host, so she let these motherfuckers in. You can't make them leave now, because then we're gonna look like assholes. So they sit down, right? They're like, man, okay, how are we gonna do this menu? Da, 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 da. Okay, we got to come up with a menu really quick. So let's just fast forward. We get them their menu. They choose what they want, right? We start putting everything together for this party. We're putting everything together. Putting it together. Got to make it good because they came in unexpected. We say we're the best. We don't say we're the best. We say we got good dogs. They came in because of that. And now we're putting together their meal and we're doing everything. And then all of a sudden, like everything is like starting to come together, right? You're like, all right, bro, we getting to the end. And then everybody just stopped and just went home. That's it.
Okay.
Ain't nothing happening after that.
Okay.
Because, and the reason why is because it has nothing to attach itself to how can I say, what's the best way to, all right, so DNA is always reconstructing and realigning itself based on daily activities. Everything you eat, you do, you say, you think, your RNA and your DNA is compiling that stuff. So if you're not giving your RNA the files that it needs, okay, here's a better example as well. If you don't upgrade your phone after a while, you ain't gonna be able to play certain video games on it. So, or certain apps are not gonna work on your phone. Or if your phone is too old, it says we can't run this on this phone, you need to upgrade. But if you can't upgrade your phone, so you're trying to upgrade, but you ain't got the model to upgrade because you didn't make it. You didn't have the model to begin with. So basically what I'm saying is if you don't lock those genes, you will see some results, and then you're going to watch those results run right out the door. Like I said, the cook was putting everything together and everything was coming together, and then he just left. He just fucking up and left. Like, and then we're looking there like, so who's gonna finish this? Who's gonna finish this? We don't know what to do. I don't even really know what you were doing. So how am I supposed to finish this? I'm just a server.
But okay, let's say speaking of like program, what we were talking about earlier, you were saying that somebody doesn't have a program, so they can't help someone with their program because they don't have a program. That's what you were
Right.
saying. You said something. You said something like that earlier.
Yeah, for sure. Because you
So
see, I
so
see a
what?
lot of that.
Okay. So what if you're you're breeding in your program, but you're getting the traits that you like, but you're not inbreeding. Like the person that you got your dogs from, they inbred some, but they
So you
didn't do it
working
a
with
lot.
so you working with line bred dogs then? Is that what you're
Yes,
asking?
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, well, hell, well, that's a whole different ball game right there because you didn't even have to start with that. Somebody already did most of the hard work for you. So in a situation where somebody has already done that, then I will say this: with the right dogs, you can go for quite some time, but eventually, it will but that's just with anything. But you'll get it.
Right. You got to put some fresh blood in. Yeah.
Right. If you come in with line bred dogs, now that you saying it like that, you coming in with line bred dogs. Yeah, no, bro. You write everything down that you're doing, and you know how their dogs were bred, and you got your calculator, your COIs, and all that. So you should be able to. I think you should be able to get at least a dozen litters, depending on how many dogs you have.
Mm-hmm.
Like good litters, consistent litters.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing I've told people. If you can start with line bred animals, that's great. It's like I tell people about reptiles.
Yes.
If you can start with a properly bred, captive bred reptile, that's the way to go. But if you're going to end up buying captive bred bullshit, then you might as well just go get a wild caught animal. You don't want to be paying captive bred prices and dealing with it's like, I don't want to spend $6,000 on a dog and then come to find out it's got dysplasia or it's got this or it's got this genetically, and then don't get me wrong, people. I've said this many times, and we know this, or we should know this, is that I'm going to say at least 60% of hip dysplasia cases were caused by the buyer and not the breeder.
Yeah, in
How
some cases.
Because you got guys out here that want a 4-month-old puppy to weigh 200 pounds.
Yep.
Okay.
And
Too much weight. Yeah.
Well, here's the other thing. Most of them. Yeah. Well, here's the other thing. If you don't understand canine anatomy, you're gonna fuck your dogs up every time, because on bigger dogs, on your larger breeds, let's say 80 and up, right? 80 and up. Those dogs, here, I'm gonna tell you some. I'm gonna spit this shit to you, bro. Listen, one, the hits on those dogs don't even solidify and set until between 16 and 20 months.
Yep.
2, you can't even test for certain shit until a dog is 24 months. So the other thing is, I don't want to lose my thought. I said, so 16. Okay, so all right, so people will be like, oh, my dog has been tested for hip dysplasia, and I'll be like, oh, how old was the dog? And they'll be like, oh, he's 9 months or 10 months, and I'm like, oh, okay. They're like, well, what was the test? And they show me the results, and I'm like, okay, well, yeah, I mean, it's for now. And they're like, what do you mean? I said, well, the dog still has 10 more months for the hips. Anything can happen. You just got to be careful about that. A dog's hips haven't set, so if you continue to put more weight, like somebody told me that once a dog hits a large breed dog hits 12 months, you can start putting all the weight you want on them after that. And this is a breeder that is selling dogs right now for $6,000. Told me that. Like, I
must never seen a dog X-ray.
But I just never, he's like, yeah, you can start packing all the weight on them, after 12 months. I'm like, how? You can't start packing all the weight. You shouldn't even, you don't even know the dog's full physique. If we're talking a dog that's 100 pounds or better, that dog ain't even going to be done growing until, in some cases, 24 months old. Yeah, it might be by the time 18 months in breeds that are like 90 to 110 pounds, you pretty much can see what it's gonna be, but it's still got a little bit more filling out to do. It ain't gonna be nothing crucial, but it's gonna be there. You might not even notice it, but you can't put more weight on something than it can handle without destroying it. So it's like when I see guys and they got dogs and they're like 6 months old and they weigh 105 pounds and the feet are this big. I know your dog's got hip dysplasia. And what they also don't understand is hip dysplasia is genetic, and it's also not genetic, but it can become genetic because that is how genetics work. You can breed hip dysplasia into your line if you create it, because RNA is a database. It doesn't necessarily.
what does RNA stand for again?
He gonna ask me when I'm high. RNA. I'm just gonna look it up because I can never recite it. RNA or DNA. But so when I talk about RNA and DNA to simplify it, because everybody asks me, and I'm like, bro, I can never say all that shit.
Just simplify it. Just simplify it.
So we'll do both. We'll simplify it real quick, and then I'll read the real definitions. But RNA is your memory. DNA is physical.
Okay.
RNA, you can't. So RNA and DNA are tied directly into genomes and phenomes. You can't have one without the other. Right. All four of those things work together in tandem. So anything you say, you do, you eat. Why do you think they'd be like, man, you sound just like your dad? Or, man, you walk just like your dad. Man, your dad used to love Mountain Dew. Or your dad used to, or your mom, man, she really did love chocolate and peanut butter. You'd be like, man, I do too.
I use simple, basketball players.
Well, I mean, something as simple as a love for peanut butter. I mean, we're not saying, oh, people love peanut butter. We're talking, but you know what I mean when somebody's like, yo, that nigga's a peanut butter head. He loves peanut butter. Or no, that dude is a ketchup head. He put ketchup on everything. You'd be like, yeah, his dad was like that. Because that's what was. So this is how birthing works. I'm going to tell you the whole secret real simple. Well, let me read the definition of DNA and RNA real quick, just because we said we were going to do that, and that's what makes sense to do what you say you're going to do.
RNA is like single-stranded, right?
Let's just read it so we don't have to, because like I said, I simplify it for people like memory, physical. That way to keep it real short and sweet, because it's obviously a way longer definition than that. So like right here, I'm going to read it. So it's hold on. So it's a ribonucleic acid. You see what I'm saying? Already you lost. You already lost.
Right.
That's why I just say one is for the memory and one is for the physical.
Okay.
So yeah, it's nucleic acids, molecules that are found in all living things, obviously plays a crucial role in protein synthesis and other cellular process. Unlike DNA, RNA typically, like you said, single-stranded. It uses sugar ribose instead of dextroribose. RNA uses base uracil in place of thymine found in DNA. So it says it is communicating protein synthesis and of other cellular. What is a cell phone? What do you do on a cell phone? Cellular, cell. We know what our cells are, but cells communicate with each other. Cell phone, that's why they call it a cell phone. Because it's small and it's a phone and you can take it with you. It's a cell. So
when I was playing ball, I noticed that my feet and my hands were growing to a basketball type.
Yeah, whatever. Well, it's like with martial arts. You see the martial arts guys, when I used to do martial arts, even then they're punching on whatever they want their body to be like, punching on the wood, punching on the metal, all day long, 2-3 hours a day, just hammering, and then let that dude come across your jaw. It's literally going to feel like that metal table. Dude, the human body and the brain is capable of so much. That's why they give you all these drugs and all these red 40s and all this stuff in your food to keep your mental state down, because they don't want you to elevate.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the show everybody thought I was going to be doing, but I can't ever do that show.
Nah,
unfortunately.
You would get blocked.
No, it's gonna be worse than blocks. Me and everybody on that show is gonna have a real problem, bro. Remember, when I say I grew up in DC, I really grew up in DC with the rich folk. So when I tell you I done seen people's kids get away with stuff just because of who they were, that me and you would be rotting in jail for right now. It's real shit, bro. For real. Like, yeah, DC's a crazy place. I love it. It's one of my favorite. Well, it's not like it used to be, but the old DC was the shit.
Yeah,
But all the cities are, everywhere is experiencing this, man. Everything is, most people who are seeing what's happening are leaving the cities. They're dispersing.
Yeah. It's like we was talking about earlier, though. It ain't the same no more.
No, not at all, bro. So yeah, it's I mean 5 years from now, bro. I don't know. I don't know what things are gonna be like. You can only imagine. I mean, I never thought we would be doing this type of stuff. Social media, you don't think about this stuff. When I'm in the 90s, I'm just thinking about how I'm gonna get my next snake. Like, now all of a sudden I'm sitting here talking about shit I used to do in the 90s on a podcast with people in other states or other countries. Like, so yeah, man, it's there's a lot of information that needs to be going around. There's a lot of information that's going around. There's a lot of misinformation that's going around in the animal world as a whole. And one thing I would definitely like to start seeing is all the animal communities start coming together, because at the end of the day, when they cut the water off on this shit, they cutting everybody's water off. So
yep, I agree. That's why they gave us the COVID shot, man.
Yeah, I told him I can't take it.
I got 2 vaccines.
Yeah, I just made a bunch. Yeah, I made my cards. Like, yeah, I'm not taking that shit, buddy. Yeah, bro, I don't fuck around, bro. They know me. It ain't, trust me, man. It's really every time people think when I say like, bro, I'm doing a podcast or I have a podcast. Oh, bro, I know what you're talking about. I'm like, actually, I'm not talking about that. They're like, really? Like, we always thought like you were gonna be the one to start the revolution. I'm like, bro, my lungs are shot, bro. I can't. I can tell you how to start it.
Yo, you do look like one of them Panther motherfuckers, though, man.
I mean, I know a lot of them type guys because I used to teach metaphysics and spirituality in the DMV. We used to have a little setup that we used to go to, but like with anything, they send people in to infiltrate you when motherfuckers start leaving the matrix and coming out, and I'm showing them how to, basically control time and things like that, because that shit ain't real. So, they don't like that.
Ella's World got a question for you.
Yo,
he said, Rain, I got a question. What is your ultimate life goal?
My ultimate life goal is to go Super Saiyan and destroy the elites. That's real shit. That's my life goal. I mean, listen, I've done pretty much almost everything I've ever wanted to do. And because of that, I got a lot of haters. I got a lot of people call me liars. They say, oh, he never did this. Oh, my own family, they would love to come and tell you how much I lie. I'll be in the picture. They'll lie. Right now, they'll tell you ain't none of this shit mine. Let them tell it. This ain't my house. They told niggas I lived in the sewers of DC. My brother calling me, talking about niggas calling you Master Splinter and shit. I'm like, bro. If that's what they saying, man. They're like, I'm like, hey, Master. I said that's how you know they stupid, because Master Splinter had 4 assassins.
Yeah, he did.
Master Splinter was that nigga. So I said, niggas so stupid. They still call me an architect, and they trying to make fun of me at the same time, dumbass niggas. But no, man, my ultimate goal, bro, I really just wish for like world peace on some real shit. Like, there's some groups of people that definitely don't need to be here, and that ain't got shit to do with no color coding. These people fall in all the colors of the rainbow. There's just some people here that are just fucking up the planet for people, the plants, and the animals, man. And if it was up to me, I'd snap my fingers. That's literally my life goal. Is just to get rid of people who are just doing harm to Earth, bro. We got to live here. I'll never understand. You can't even. That's just gonna take me somewhere else. But that's my life goal, bro. It's just for motherfuckers to be out there and be able to be themselves without having to worry about what somebody else think about you, bro. Like I tell people all the time they think it's crazy when I say this. Like, bro, I would sacrifice my own life right now if it would fix every problem on this planet with no hesitation.
That's real.
I've told many people that, and they're like, bro, no. I'm like, man, it's because that's how I know you really ain't my friend, and you ain't never been paying attention to nothing that I've said, bro. I've done my entire career is really built on helping other people. Like getting people jobs, doing resume, credit repair, helping people get apartments, showing them how to buy houses with no money, showing them how to start businesses. Like right now, bro, I have a model on eBay that I'm using right now that I started with $0. And I show people how to do that same shit. Like, bro, you just got to apply pressure. Right. Like it's so easy to like create your own warehouse without even having a warehouse if you know how, and to make money off of that shit. So, like that's my goal, bro. I just like all the bickering, the arguing and all that, but a lot of that stuff is caused by specific people. And that's what they like. Like they say, misery love company. Well, I would take them and put them on a whole nother company somewhere else. So like, because it's no reason why, honestly, I don't really think there should be any really debates and disputes in the animal world outside of something like kind of like what me and Duro and other people have debated, like something like that. It kind of makes sense to have a debate on. But how you going to have a debate on purity and standards and then say, oh, there's no standards or standards don't matter? Nigga, that's not a debate. You're going to sit up here and tell me standards don't matter, like I said, and then let me know that in your house you ain't got no standards either, but your standards are low. There's no such thing as no standards. It's just low standards. Your standards are low standards. That's what it is. Like standards is in morals and values, bro. That shit's important. Like, and that shit transfers over. And I just don't want to be, and you have people out here who will see like this podcast. This is a good podcast. Everybody just chill. But it's like you said, like people like, oh, so-and-so got a problem with him. Like really, niggas don't really, how the fuck you know who I got a problem with?
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't. Because me, when I got a problem with somebody, if you've been following me long enough, I pretty much let them and you and everybody else know that I got a problem with this nigga.
Exactly. That was the thing though, man. Like when people was insinuating that, it was I'm like, hold on. First of all, if I got a problem with something, me and you like kind of like the same person, bro. We always say it in the DM. But the thing is, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna be on your podcast if I don't fuck with you. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna be talking to you if I don't fuck with you. I'm not gonna follow you if I don't fuck with you.
Yeah, so what if I don't agree with what you think about the Staffordshire Bull, the AM staff? That's a great debate topic. The problem lies is then people, oh, you ain't gonna side with me? Well, fuck you then. Like what? Mm-hmm. So you want to stop talking to me because I don't think that the AM staff and the pit bull are the same? They're the different dogs. Nigga, get away from me. You know what I mean? Like, no, bro, that's crazy. That's madness. Yeah. That is madness. Because I've had people do that stuff, that dumb stuff to me. Like, bro, that's crazy, bro. We've been friends I thought we was friends for like 3 years. So all of a sudden, because I don't agree with that, or I don't like that, or I don't think that's right, or like, bro, I really think that they should be doing more. What? How dare you? Now all of a sudden you going around lying about me, telling people I said this or I did this. Like, bro, I didn't say that. So then I got to go on a podcast and clear my shit up. Like, that shit's crazy, bro. Like I said, I just be really getting on podcasts to talk to people, or people want to ask me questions. People want to pick my brain. Cool. Go ahead. Do it, bro. I ain't got no problem. Like if you good people, I'm gonna come on the show. If you a fuck nigga, I'm not gonna come on the show. It's as simple as that. Don't ask me. You know if you full of shit or not. You know you don't. It ain't no person alive. You cannot know that you ain't full of shit to ask somebody like me to do something with you. Or anybody in there, like I said, anybody that falls in that same category, bro. Like they should know better. So trying to use me for that or trying to create like a fake, like I said, guys, I could easily be like, nah, bro, that's bullshit. I don't agree with that. Da 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 da. It could be as heated as you want to be, but then when the debate's over, the debate's fucking over, bro. I was on a debate team, nigga. I'm a debate champion. So you think I didn't get heated with some of them people on the stage? But at the end of the day, like some of them were my friends, bro. But we had to argue the same point. You got to argue one end, I got to argue the other end. That is what a debate is. But a lot like the dude who want to debate me, he don't even want to debate me. He just wants to talk at me. That's what he wants to do, to see like, oh, I'm smarter than this guy. That's what he wants to prove. I ain't got time for that shit. You're not smarter than me. Let's just leave it. Not that guy.
Right.
You know, bifocals don't make you smart, motherfucker. Like that doesn't. Saying shit don't mean it. Don't make it necessarily true. Like that's just what it is, bro. Like you can't. At some point, you just got to learn. And you're not the only one. There's many that have come, bro. Like I don't even want to argue with you. I really just want to sit here and talk like we did. Like man, I just want to hear about dogs and snakes and stupid shit. We ain't even got to. Like, I could get on here and tell y'all stories that ain't got shit to do with dogs and have y'all over here rolling, or tell y'all crazy shit like how my cousin jumping in backyards, stealing people's dogs and shit, not letting me know what the fuck is going on. And I'm in the middle of that shit. Like crazy shit like that, like stuff I like to talk about.
I agree. But that's the thing. Like that's what a lot of people don't want to talk about, though. They rather talk about the nonsense or the fake beef or the beef that they think that people have with one another, because that's more juicy. You know what I'm saying?
Well, of course. Well, it's like sex, violence, drugs. That shit sells. So it's the same thing. Like, we sit here, have a conversation, motherfucker learn something. Like, man, bro, it was all right. That was all right. But man, when they got to arguing, it's like the last podcast I did where that nigga was trolling me. I mean, the podcast was great, but then as soon as he came in, it got hyped, and then everybody got hyped with it. Like,
yeah, I was watching it.
You know what I mean?
Well, no. I went back and watched. I didn't watch it live. I went back and watched.
But here's the thing. I hate to do that. I hate to have to do that. But if you're gonna jump out, then I'm gonna jump right back. You know what I mean? But I don't do shows to do that. Because if I want to do a show on you, like with that whole Lee Robinson thing, then I'm gonna just make a video about you. But that only happened because motherfucker said something about me first. I didn't say nothing about nobody.
Right.
So then I had to go. And crush that situation. Like, bro, Duro, I'll be telling them, bro, like, just leave me alone, bro. Just be cool with me. Just be cool with me, man. Like, just be cool, bro. I'm not trying. I'm not your enemy, bro. I'm not. You will know if I'm your enemy.
Right. Because I'm not gonna stop.
Well, it's
I'm
like
not
they got a mission, right? And it's like, man, I see a little bullshit. You might, you say something, and it's like, damn, you ruffling their feathers. Like, I'm following the guy, but every damn week a dog die, and I'm like, damn, ain't nobody gonna say nothing about this shit.
Yeah, that's. See, I've been hearing a lot more about this. A lot more about people having health issues and with litters and stuff at a young age. And I don't wait, this is what I'll say. I don't recall hearing all this stuff, but we also didn't have access to each other like this. Without social media, us four in here probably might not even know each other, no matter what we were doing, because of how the situation, how we had to communicate with each other. So maybe them problems did exist and there was just no way to get the information out there. Or maybe they didn't exist and they're coming in over time because of poor breeding programs. And so it's like, now shit is hitting the fan, because we're seeing that with like the reptile people. With the reptiles, it's like 40, 50 years in, shit has been cool. But now all these health problems are starting to pop up because it's been so much inbreeding and improper breeding over the decades. So now you got these animals with their hearts being born out of their chest, their brains being born out of their skull. They're being stillborns. They're seeing more two-headed snakes than we used to see because of all these mutated genes and shit like that. So, you know, there's so many levels to it. Like, was it, like I said, was it happening and nobody was documenting it, or was it happening and, you know, we just couldn't get the information around, so only select few people knew about it? Or is this stuff brand new and it's a product of 40, 50 years of breeding programs? Like, who it could be a little bit of all of them. So knowing that is why it's very important to be close with the people that you are, but not so close where, because I see, like, you know, typically when folks get so close, man, they just start having problems with each other. Like, nigga, you spending too much time, but you ain't dating, nigga. Like, you know what I mean? Like, y'all supposed to be about the dogs and shit like that. Like, that's, you know, that's where the program is supposed to go. You're supposed to be the author of this program.
Right.
So, but you see a lot of these guys are clicked up and then they start beefing with each other because, like I said, they spending too much time. They talking a little too much. You know, they hanging out a little too much. You know, it's like your brother. If you got siblings, bro, you know what I'm talking about.
Right. Right. Yep.
You know, have fights with your brothers and your sisters. I know I have. So, yeah, because you win them every day. You spend, it's like you got a dog and the dog just get clingy as hell, getting on your nerves. Like, send this dog outside for the rest of the day. It's the same kind of deal. So I don't know how, but we need to kind of reconstruct the mentality. I don't know how it's going to happen because you got a lot of young people coming in, and a lot of them want to come in and they want to have litters that same year. So they're I don't know where they be getting this money from. I guess it's off social media because they ain't got no jobs. They don't want to go to work, but they want to come in and they want to buy older dogs and they'll have a litter that year. You know, this dude been breeding dogs for 3 years and he's already got 6 litters. I see it all the time. Because they didn't want to wait, watch the dogs grow up, so you don't know nothing about them dogs. That's what the presser breeders used to do. Well, I should say presser importers / breeders were doing back in the day. They were importing all those dogs over here, those older dogs from the islands that they didn't really know much about. And a lot of those dogs were looking good, but they were scatterbred. So then they were breeding them like Jakar, for instance, even though people still talk about that dog, but I ain't seen no dogs that look like him since him. And it's estimated that he sired thousands of puppies. You know, nobody really knows the numbers. Some people say that number is nowhere near true. And then some people say, bro, they say that because they don't want you to know just how many people wanted semen from him. And I said, yeah, that's probably the truth, especially knowing the person who had the dog. So in those senses like that, they were bringing all those older dogs over here, breeding them, but didn't really know much about them. So when you were asking me about consistency or breeding with outcrossing, line breeding, and not inbreeding, that's kind of what was kind of happening. So they brought these dogs, but it was a little bit reverse. So they brought these dogs over that really weren't line bred, and then they had dogs over here where people will argue to this day that those dogs weren't even from the Canary Islands. I don't fucking know, bro. I wasn't there. I don't know. Nobody will ever fucking know. So they can say what they want. Tobin Jackson is long dead, and Arbaco is long dead. But I will tell you this, and this is a fact that I know for a fact, is that they didn't have a problem with the blue brindle presser. They didn't have a problem with Tobin, and they didn't have a problem with Arbaco until that dog got sold to Mac Harris. When they sold that dog to Mac Harris, that's when they said that the dog was a band dog. But up until then, when certain people stood to get that presser, it was a presser. But when Tobin sold it to Mac, They trashed him. Oh, it's not even a real one anyway. He got it from Honduras. My question is, how the hell do you, on an F1 cross-pollination of two separate breeds, they said that he took a Neapolitan Mastiff, and I can't remember if they said an Amstaff type or a Pit Bull type, and bred it to the Neapolitan, and that's how they made Arbaco. So my question is, well, where the fuck are the other puppies at? What happened to them? Because nobody ever said a word about those dogs except for me. Where is the other fucking litter at? And then two, how the hell did he get a F1 cross-pollinated dog, two breeds, cross-pollination of two separate breeds that fit the Pressa standard almost 98%? Ain't no, anything is possible because you can't spell impossible without possible, but that shit is highly fucking unlikely. But I know the history of that dog, and I know, like I said, that they was cool with that dog until it got sold to somebody else.
Right.
And they blackballed.
Did the people that wasn't cool with it, were they able to influence other people and sway other people to feel a certain way?
The whole community. They influenced
Okay.
the whole community because the community didn't know what I just said.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say 95% of the community. They definitely use that. And mind you, some of these same people were sitting on the DCCA board when they were trying to pull this doggo canario bullshit. They sat on the DCCA board, and the head of the board, who didn't know shit about presses, literally said verbatim in her statement when they were talking about this dog that there is no way in hell that a Pressa Canario could ever come in blue or blue brindle because the breed has no connection to diluted breeds. Give me a second before I answer, because I gotta get my thoughts together.
Dang,
You dumb bitch. That's what I had to say. You stupid bitch. And I don't disrespect women, but she's a lying bitch, and she lied to everybody. And they had a lot of people lost their money and got abracadabraed because of her, the DCCA, some of these still lying ass breeders out here today. How the hell the Pressa ain't got no ties to no dogs with dilutions when the most talked about two breeds that are connected to the Pressa Canario are the Neapolitan Mastiff and the Great Dane? But a woman who claims to be a Pressa Canario expert and ran the DCCA said that the Pressa has never and will never have any ties to any dogs that are diluted.
That's the politics on, like, because they control who get rich and who don't.
But get this, before the DCCA even ever existed, before the Dogo Canario shit ever existed, before this lady was ever even had a position to even say anything, they had a black dog on the standard in 1990 when they revised it. But you can't include something that was never there, and you can't exclude something that was never there. How am I going to say, yeah, I don't want no Cheerios? They're like, nigga, we don't have none. Why are you saying you don't want Cheerios? We got Fruit Loops. Oh. How you going to say there were never, the black dog? That wasn't how. 1989, they got pictures in the 20s and 30s of black presses, the real Pressa dogs, before it was a breed.
Right.
So 1989, they tried to put the black dog on the standard. They remember I said they wasn't agreeing. They were like, no, we don't want the black dog. The next year, the black dog got added. So what did the black dog just magically appear? It was just magically delicious in 1990, and it just popped out of a fucking cereal box somewhere. Out of nowhere, there was no black dogs. Now we got black dogs. No, because black holds all the colors. So then you wonder why people do have blue brindle presses here and there. When you look on the Pressa standard, it don't say nothing about not blue brindle. It says all colors of brindle. I've read them all. But again, the blue dog didn't become popular because they turned everybody against it. You can't be dealing with Great Danes, Neapolitan Mastiffs, Amstaffs. What other dogs went into the presser? They even used Dobermans. Some of the people even use Dobermans. So I have in my video, in the presser presentation, they take you to a kennel where they were still crossing the dogs after the standard had been set, and clearly in the background you see a blue Neapolitan. And in this same video, I show footage, and I even say from the footage, this looks to be a blue brindle dog on this yard in this footage that I'm showing you right here. When in comparison to the other brindle dogs, that dog looks to be a blue or a gray brindle. So not only did I say it, I showed something. Because, these days, somebody in the comments will just be like, oh, he don't know what he's talking about. And then they'll leave and they think they'll be like, oh, like they just flexed on you. You don't know. And then they leave. Like, bro, you didn't even give no facts. You can't just say you don't know what you're talking about and then leave.
Right.
Tell me why I'm full of shit.
They just don't agree with you. That's what it is.
Right. Well, it's not agreeing, and sometimes some people just don't like facts, bro. They just don't want to hear it, no matter what. Like
you become a liar at that point. He's lying. And it's
you become a danger to yourself at that point. You know what I mean? Like, you become a danger to yourself and everybody around you. But yeah, bro, I think that as a whole, man, we need to do better. But I will say this. I think the American bully coming into existence the way that it did gave a lot of other breeders of other breeds excuses to do whatever the fuck they wanted.
I agree.
Thanks.
I agree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, because people tried to mimic that same sauce.
Well, yeah, because they finally saw somebody look like getting rich off of breeding dogs.
There you go.
You saw people on YouTube like, man, I was almost homeless, and then I got this dog. I'm like, well, hold up, bro. Let's go back to homeless. How you get the dog? You was homeless.
Yeah.
How you get him? Somebody gave him? Like, well, I got the dog, and now we're charging $10,000 a pop. And now we're living in this house, and this dog made us $1 million. I remember watching that when them little pocket bullies came out.
Yeah.
I was like, what is that? Why would you want that? And then I bought one because I wanted to see. I bought one because I'm not the type of person to talk shit about something if I ain't tried it. So I had one. I've had standard bullies as well. I've had XL bullies as well. But I had a little pocket try. Beautiful, dumb dog. Beautiful. I just talked about that story, man. My landlord at that house tried to steal the dog from me. I caught her red-handed trying to steal the dog and bring it into her apartment. This bitch was crazy because I lived upstairs. I'm like, where the fuck was you going to hide the dog at? Fuck was you going to put him? We live in the same place.
Right.
And that dog let me know I can't do this. I mean, but in all fairness to that dog, the person I got that dog from, I'm pretty sure that dog was pretty much living in the kennel and they were only breeding her because her teats never went down the entire time I had them. And to the point when I first got her there, one of my neighbors was like, oh man, you getting ready to have a litter? I'm like, nah, I think they were just breeding the hell out of her. Beautiful dog. Came from South Carolina. I couldn't remember. Had 2 sets of papers. Not AKC, UKC and ABDA, and the UKC papers said that it was a pit bull. Because you got to call and ask them.
Right.
And otherwise they'll say that it's a pit bull. But yeah, it said it was a pit bull. So I called the original breeder and he talked to me for about an hour. It was like, yeah, the dog sold for $3,500. He's like, where are you at? I'm like, nigga, I'm in DC. He's like, how the fuck did the dog get up there? I'm like, I don't know. I bought it from a Spanish nigga. I don't know. Show me the dog, right? But yeah, he gave me the rundown. And apparently the dog's pedigree was awesome. It had like some little dog on there that was like it was a double bred something, and that dog was like the shit at that time. I couldn't tell you that dog's name for nothing. That dog looked like some shit to me, though. It didn't look like the shit. It looked like some shit. But apparently, her having that on that pedigree was like crazy. I'm like, but she looked better than him. She looked better than the dog that's supposed to be making her pedigree crazy. Like, that's crazy. That's madness right there. That's almost redundant, I think. I'm not even sure if that's the correct term. But yeah, but the dog, they didn't do nothing with it. I had to force the dog didn't even want to go outside to go to the bathroom, and it had skin issues. It was a blue tri. Had the body of an English bulldog and the head of an XL bully. Skin problems. Or I used to have to put a shirt on the dog, or she'd just scratch herself raw.
Yeah.
Tried it with the and that's something that's inherited with blue dogs anyway.
Yep.
And that's what I told people as well. Like, color matters, bro. They have already proven scientifically that the color of a dog's coat is directly, and I've said this many times, is directly connected to the dog's health, mental and physical abilities. The color of a dog's coat ties directly into your dogs. The same thing with people. That's why they already proven that. That's why we know that white dogs carry deafness, within that color. It's genetic. Blue dogs, skin problems. They've proven that darker colored dogs tend to be on a scale more aggressive than lighter colored dogs.
Right. That's right.
So each color, along with each breed, has its own problems. That's why you can have the same breed. If you have breeds that come in multiple colors, then you got to know about those colors as well. Because you might be wondering why you're having problems. You're not even thinking about what I just said. On that level, like, man, it could be my dog's color coat. And it's not even a color that I would think of, because automatically we think about blue as being the color problem. You got a blue dog.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's not always. Sometimes it's the food. But what the thing is with the genetics of the blue, there's something in that RNA that is telling it when certain things happen, start getting red and itchy and dry and flaky. It's just something with there. And people have argued that is why they said they didn't want the blue coat in the American Pit Bull Terrier, because of that skin disorder that they were seeing pop up. I don't know how true that is, but that's what they said. Because then you got a whole nother group of people that attribute that blue and blue brindle to the blue Paul being crossed in as a breed back program, but very few people even want to talk about that story. And there's not a lot. It's just something that I've heard over the years from a select few people that don't even live in this country, who actually would probably know more about that than we would. Now, the American Pit Bull Terrier and the Amstaff, that's a whole nother ball game, because that dog came from the UK as a different dog, and then it developed into what we see now, the American Pit Bull Terrier, the American Staffordshire Terrier. But American in front of it lets you know that dog has been altered. And that's a fact, whether people want to admit that shit or not. The Tudor crossed his dogs, bro.
Be careful. Yellow one to get on your ass, man.
No.
We can get where we want.
See, Tudor is history. He's back in the gap, back in the day.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rain. Go ahead.
I'm just playing, man.
I know you were.
Now, Tudor, and this is the thing. I said Tudor. I didn't say everybody did that, but there were some people. Tudor was one of them. And a lot of those guys that you saw with them chocolate pit bulls, them dogs were lab crosses. Those were breed backs. That's not a color. Look at the standard.
So what would you think the purpose would be to cross in a lab into the pit bull? What would they gain from it? What attributes?
Think about what a lab does. It's a retriever, right?
It's a retriever, yeah.
He got
wind.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say labs are known for endurance. You wouldn't lose. You would not. Why do you think they started trying to create that program between the pit bull and the Labrador. You don't remember when they were trying to make that a thing?
Oh,
Yes, bro. That dog under F1 was showing up in dog encyclopedias. That and they would show a black and white dog. It was a black dog. It resembled. It looked like a boxer cross almost. It looked a little bit like a boxer. It had a weird kind of like Boston Terrier-ish muzzle, but it had a longer body, and it had the black coat, and it had the tuxedo, and it was half pit bull, half Labrador. And that's around the same time you started seeing them those chocolate dogs pop up. And yeah, they were trying to make that a thing. They were really trying to push that. This is when they were also they were working on dogs like the Labradoodle, the Canis Panther was also around these same times. People were thinking about and putting that stuff together, like trying to author out these programs. There was so much stuff going on, bro, that we didn't even know about or realize it. And then when it hit the scene, nobody really knew how much time really went into it. The other thing is, like I learned when I was overseas, is that most breeders aren't even really probably going to be honest with you about everything they're doing anyway, because at least the Europeans, their excuse was, and I didn't buy it because it didn't make sense. So like, oh, well, we don't want anybody to be able to recreate what we did. I'm like, well, how would anybody be able to recreate what you did? I can't go get all the dogs and do it again. So that's your excuse for sending fake papers?
Mm-hmm.
That's why you sent me a dog with one nut? So, no, everybody wasn't crossing, but the problem was if I bought a tutor dog and it was the right dog in this case, but if you understand how genetics work, 6-7 litters down the road, that shit's gone. But they say tutor crosses shit with bull terrier. And there's a few dogs that he had that when you look at them, like, man, that don't look like no pit bull I ever saw. But who knows? We weren't there. And that's one thing is don't get like, I love the game dog, the American Pit Bull Terrier. Like I said, my brother is a fanatic, but I do know that some pit bull guys can be real biased when it comes to that dog. And that doesn't help the community at all, because all the thing that does is make people hate you, hate the breed, and then the wrong information gets out there. Because, and I really don't know a way to put it in perspective the right way without just being direct, but it's like, if you're watching some sport, let's just say that. Like, if you're watching sport and the pit bull doesn't win, pit bull guys that I know will come up with every single reason for why that dog did not win, other than the reason of it just wasn't the better dog.
Mm-hmm.
That I can't deal with that shit. I don't want to talk to you. If that's your mentality, that you know, like, because here's the thing. You know what dog was doing that long before the American Pit Bull Terrier was? The Perro de Presa Canario, before it was a Presa. We're talking about 15th century. Pit Bull didn't exist. Bulldogs didn't exist then.
Mm-hmm.
So there was already a dog that had already been doing that 300 years before.
You mean battling?
Yeah, because the Canary Islands, they were obsessed with that. You know, the history of the Canary Islands was for dog fighting, and that's where they housed were what they consider to be their most dangerous slaves. And I'm talking about all of them, European, African, like any of like witches, or if they thought you knew magic or voodoo or hoodoo, anything like that, they dropped your ass off on the Canary Islands, and that's where they held you. Most people don't know that shit.
Would you consider somebody that been to the islands and, you know, to pick up dogs and to get the story or whatever, would you consider them having the true story? Because it's like they'll die by what they heard.
No, and the reason why is because I've been over there twice. Once was for dogs, and once was just with a friend of mine. We actually had a layover on our way into Spain. But the reason I say that is because everybody's going to tell you a different story over there about how their grandfather had these dogs, or their grandmother had these dogs, or their cousin so and so over here on this island had these dogs, or so and so on the mainland had them. And every story is going to have some similarities and some differences. And it's like the whole thing with Juan Carlos. Juan Carlos bought dogs from both islands, and then they crossed them together. But he lived in Spain, and they trashed him for it. Most people, Michael Morales, he'll say that Juan Carlos never had Perro de Presa Canarios ever. But that's according to one source. Other sources say that that's not true in any way, shape, and form. That he did go to the Canary Islands, and it is documented that he did buy dogs there, and that's probably the truth. So I do think that, you know, when you don't like somebody or something, that's how a lot of bullshit information gets passed out. You know, you're just going to say something because you don't. But when you go over to places like that, because knowing the history of the Presa, and that there has always been issues between those breeders from way before Reconstruction. You understand? Way before they reconstructed it, they still had the same disagreement. That is why the dog existed, because who's got the better Presa dog? That's why I explained it the way I did. We're doing this over here with our Bardinos. They're doing that with theirs. They're doing that with theirs. He's doing that with theirs. She's doing that with theirs. They're doing that with theirs. These guys are doing that with theirs. And then we're going to bring them to the pit, and then we're going to see who's got the best dog. That's why it happened that way. So everybody is going to tell you a different story, because everybody's going to say that they had the best dogs. So I guess it all depends on who's going to make you the most comfortable. But no, I wouldn't say, because I know some people right now that are like, man, so-and-so's got the real deal dogs because he went over to the islands. I'm like, well, at some point, everybody's dog came from the island. So
Right.
what does that mean? Like, yeah, have they got dogs gotten watered down since 93 when they started importing them up? Hell yeah. Man, you know how many people, the reason the Corso is so popular is because the Presa was so fucking ferocious back then, which made me want the dog even more. But nobody wanted to deal with the dog because you had to get these older dogs that were either coming out of box matches or they were coming off of working on farms with these large farm animals, and you trying to bring this dog into the city and you don't know shit about it. Yeah, you're definitely going to get bit. And many people did. And some people even got killed selling these dogs to people. That's why Red Star Kennel ain't around no more. So, you know, that happened. Then you had Bane and that incident with Bane and Delilah where they killed that lady. And then
I remember that. They were the two Bruno ones in California.
Yeah, and then you had the lady in Canada at Werewolf Kennel who tried to take credit for those dogs, and she didn't even breed the dog. She didn't even have real presses. She had Canadian prey dogs. She was making her own presses in Canada and selling them for like $10,000, no papers. And they interviewed her, and she went on national television and lied and said that Bane and Delilah came off of her yard because she was saying that so that she could sell more puppies. And then they banned her from Dog Fancy and Dog World. If you look up Werewolf Kennels, it'll be like a small little article. You should be able to, if you look in the right place, you'll find a small little article about her. But yeah, man, she was breeding trash and trying to use those killer dogs to say, you know, she had real presses and they cost this much and you don't get any breeding rights or papers. Yeah, of course you don't, because you don't got presses. Like openly lying to you.
So the dogs that she was mixing up, what breeds did she use?
Neo, basically everything she could get but a Bardino, because she couldn't get any. So everything that she knew that they might have been using over there, Rottweilers, not Rottweilers, Neapolitans, Pit Bulls. Most of her stuff, you see, was heavy on. I even believe she did have a couple presses there that she was using, but she had one dog that had a dip in its back, bro. That shit looked like a crescent moon. It was terrible. But then she had one dog there named Lady Frankenstein that actually looked really, really good. Really good. And in the beginning, I thought she had real presses. We all did until that Bane and Delilah situation happened. And that's how she got exposed. But yeah, Neos, Pit Bulls. We really don't know everything that she had. Nobody really knows. But you can look at some of those dogs and see the Neo, see the Pit Bull, see, you know what I mean? Like some of these, like, man, that looks like she might have used a little bit of like Hound or maybe some Bordeaux in that one. Because Bordeaux was a dog that they used. It's another Bordeaux, Great Dane, and Neapolitans were like the three main dogs that you would see at these Presa kennels in the islands.
Yeah, but like sometimes, you know, like you were saying that you can you can see, you can look at and tell and kind of look at the dog and tell what's in it. And that's just use a little common sense. That's all. You don't necessarily have to be there when the dogs are bred. You don't have to be there. You just use common sense and you can tell when something ain't right. You know, you can look at it and tell. Yeah.
And here's the thing, how I said to backtrack. Now they said that Tobin's Presa was fake, right? They said it was a Neo Pit Bull cross. Now I just told you, we know for a fact at least she was crossing Neos into Pit Bulls. None of her dogs look like Arbaco. Them dogs look like straight fucking mutts. Arbaco is the reason I wanted a Presa. There is no Presa right now that exists. Like if I were to come into the Presa game right now and I never saw Arbaco, I probably wouldn't even be. I'd be like, man, I'm just gonna get me a Pit Bull. Like I'm cool. Arbaco was so stunning and immaculate to me. It was just, I was like, if I can't own a dog like this, I'm gonna make that dog. Like that was my thing. And everything I did, everything I looked up, I compared to that dog. And I got dogs that were close, not color wise, but you know, then it got to the point, like I said, like I really only do stuff for myself. So I thought about just trying to make myself.
Connection.
Did we? Can you hear me? Am I back?
Yeah, you back. You back.
Okay, I don't even know where I got cut off at. I was going.
Shit, well, I forgot what did you say about, what are you talking about, the dog Baca or something like that?
Oh, Arbaco. Yeah, I was saying Arbaco was the reason I even wanted to have a Presa. You know, like there was, to this day, there's no other Presa, not even Jakar. And Jakar was a great looking dog, but there's no other dog. When I think of Presa, honestly, I think Arbaco. I don't care what nobody says. Because that dog was like 105 pounds, blue brindle. He had that elastics. He had everything, bro. How do you get a dog that only has one? Because you know the Presa doesn't have an undercoat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so tell me this. Maybe I'm wrong. Because I've said it before. I've never said that I know specifics about every single breed. I know the breeds I've dealt with very well. But I've been around Neapolitans. Neapolitans have an undercoat, right? Or do they not? I'm almost sure that the Presa is one of two dogs that doesn't have an undercoat. The Neapolitan, I will bet money, has an undercoat. And okay. I know that Pit Bulls and Amstaffs have undercoats, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you breed two dogs that both have undercoats and get a dog that don't have no undercoat? How does that happen? So you got two dogs that it's installed in their memory and their RNA for undercoats. So that's on both sides. And then you breed them and you get a dog with no undercoat. And then we don't know where none of the other litter mates are. I mean, that sounds like he just bought the dog from somebody. If he had the dog, let's just say I'm Tobin. Let's just say I'm Tobin, right? And I fake this litter. and I had dog. I mean, obviously, I would think that I would have at least had a couple more dogs that look like that, right? Maybe one or two, right? Because Neos and Pit Bulls are both known to have big litters. At least we're talking 8 to 12 puppies on average between those two, right? I mean, I've seen Neos have 15, 16 puppies, and I've seen some Pit Bulls have some pretty good litters. So you telling me, let's just say they had 7 puppies in the litter. Let's just say they had 7 puppies in the litter. So you telling me you didn't even at least get a female that came out looking good? None of them other dogs? I mean, you know, in this day and age, every time a nigga have a litter, they say everything in the litter is fire.
Facts. Talk about it.
So how come not then? So how come not then he couldn't at least get one more other dog to show off and say, yeah, I got this male and I got this female here, but we only ever knew that dog. He said he bought the dog from somebody in Honduras. Motherfuckers in Honduras got ties to people in the Canary Islands. Who you think colonized that shit? The Canary Islands is from Africa. That ain't Spain for real. They colonized it. The same thing they did in Central America, and they brought dogs with them all the time to this day. So it was around the same time they said they were importing the dog. You don't know what that man was doing. Maybe he was a liar, and maybe he did get lucky. But you know what? None of us can prove it. So the fact that people still keep trashing a dead man is crazy to me. I'm like, the nigga must be the shit because he got y'all confused like a motherfucker. If you can't figure out what he did. So, yeah, but like I said, the truth behind that shit is he was supposed to sell that dog to a particular couple people, and he changed his mind. And he sold it to somebody else, and so then they just said that it wasn't real no more. That's what happened. So
yeah, that's a lot of game, man. That's a lot of game. Whole lot of game. I appreciate you, Rain.
Oh, for sure, bro. You know, I appreciate you for allowing me to come on.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate everybody in the chat, man. My panel.
My hoes, yeah, my hoes and out there. I know y'all out there.
We had a lot of people, man. We had a lot of people in here that came to see you, man. So
yeah,
they was watching. Hopefully, man. Maybe when you ain't busy, we can get a part 2 in, man. Cause
for sure. Yeah. No, we definitely can. That was funny because the other podcast I did today was a part 2.
Okay.
So yeah, it's generally part 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and niggas go, bro, I want you to just be on my channel forever.
Yeah, man. This one was a good one. I appreciate it, man.
Oh yeah, man, no doubt, bro. So yeah, I appreciate everybody in there, everybody that's hating, everybody that commented, the good stuff, the bad stuff. I like all that shit. So yeah, man, y'all tune in to Duro. I don't know. I mean, y'all got channels too? Or y'all just share the channel. Okay, well then make sure everybody subscribe and tune in to everybody's channel. Mine, the other 3 gentlemen's channels on here. So
I'm subscribed to you. Yeah, I'm subscribed to your channel.
Yeah, everybody in the comments. If you're not, I saw I had a bunch of follows come in. Subscribe to NWA Connie Corso because that's my home base right now. If you want to see more footage, where I have multiple podcasts on over a dozen channels. I don't think anybody has single-handedly as much content as me, honestly, for somebody who don't want to do this shit.
Hey, man, it's a gift. It's a gift, bro. It's a gift.
So,
man. People that want to come and watch and learn from you, man, you're doing something right. So, what I mean? We all got something. But you know what I'm saying? I appreciate it, man. We're gonna close this thing out. And you know what I'm saying, in the future, man, we'll see Rain on Duro Lounge again. You know what I mean? And hopefully we get an even bigger crowd. So I appreciate it, man. Much love to everybody. See y'all next time.
Salute, y'all.
Peace.
Salute. Later.